30 miles. In 1917, a group of Calvin students traveled 30 miles to play a basketball game against the Hope Flying Dutchmen, and a rivalry was born.
Well, we wish you a good afternoon. I'm Warren Reynolds. Today, one of the oldest rivalries in the Midwest, certainly, as Calvin College will host Hope.
8 wins. 8 wins is all that separates these teams in the overall record. And over 105 years later, it remains a game that can make or break a season. Half a point. Half a point is all that decides who wins and who loses. Countless clutch plays and buzzer beaters have shaped the rivalry into what it is now.
Long shot by Henning.
Winkle off glass, and they are going nuts here at Calvin.
Two iconic programs, separated by 30 miles, 8 wins, and half a point per game, but bonded in a tradition that rings throughout history. This is the rivalry.
That was 1,000 with an exclamation point. Egakaza back to Varnado, deep three. Oh, off the window.
How about Varnado? He's fired up.
Penetrates, kicks out, Rester for three.
Yep.
The Calvin versus Hope basketball rivalry is indeed a treasure to West Michigan. The alums and the two schools and the basketball fanatics across the country. For over 100 years, the two neighboring schools have been battling on the hardwood. Hope has won 111 games, while Calvin has claimed 103. Incredibly, in those 214 games, just 10 points separate the all-time scoring totals between the two teams. It's a storied rivalry matched only by a few others across America. But what has really made the annual contest so special is how high the stakes are each and every game. Today is no exception. Today, these two teams are in the thick of the MIAA battle, with Calvin looking to remain at the top of the standings and Hope seeking to stay alive in the conference race. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to another epic Saturday afternoon of NCAA college basketball with the 215th edition of the rivalry. Hope versus Calvin here from Van Noord Arena on the campus of Calvin University. My name is Bob Sack. I'll have all the play-by-play for you today. Former Calvin national champ Mike Lefebvre is alongside for our color analysis, and we're grateful that you've chosen to spend your Saturday afternoon with us today. Mike, last night, Purdue and Indiana put on a show down in West Lafayette. Today, Carolina and Duke play tonight on Tobacco Row. Around these parts, everybody seems to be in love with Michigan and Michigan State. But here in Grand Rapids, this one's pretty special. Hope and Calvin for the 215th time. These guys out on the floor warming up. What's going through their mind as they get set to really make a memory today?
Absolutely. It's definitely rivalry week here, right? Not only in West Michigan, but in the Midwest. This is a special day if you're a part of this rivalry. You circle it on the calendar months ago, and these guys are jacked up. I played in this over 30 years ago, and I still get excited on this day. So, I think they're ready to go. There's a lot at stake. Calvin's on a bit of a win streak. Hope's got to try to right the ship a little bit. So both teams have a lot at stake, and I think we're going to see a great one.
It's a real pivotal couple of weeks in the MIAA. Started a week and a half ago when Calvin knocked off Hope 65-60. Hope went down to Trine on Saturday, lost by 23. Calvin goes down to Indiana and beats Trine just Wednesday, 62-58. And Trine will host, or rather go travel to Hope next Wednesday. Pivotal time. What do you make of this MIAA race here early in the season?
Well, there's some really good teams at the top of it, and they've had some really good games here in the last week. The Hope-Calvin game a week ago was a competitive game. The Calvin-Trine game on Wednesday was probably as good of a defensive effort as we've seen out of Calvin, beating a really good Trine team on their court. So I think we're going to see that tonight too, this afternoon too. I think both teams are really going to get after it on the defensive end. If one of them can make a run offensively towards the end of the game, that might be the difference.
You and I did the game a week and a half ago, 65-60. Calvin beat Hope in Holland. 16 lead changes, 9 ties, just a back and forth tussle all evening. What's your reflections on that Calvin win from a week and a half ago?
Yeah, like you said, it was the typical traditional back and forth Calvin game. I mean, that's what they have always been from my memories of it. And Calvin made a couple plays at the end, as I was just describing. So, I think it's going to be what teams can step up, what teams can make sure they don't have defensive breakdowns, don't let those runs happen. But it's going to be a battle like it usually is.
Mike, we'll talk about a lot of key guys today that are going to play a role in this outcome. Give me one or two from each team that you think are going to be real vital.
Yeah. On the Hope side, I think Gabe Quillen he's a senior. He's 6'9". He's got the matchup issue, provides matchup issues for Calvin. I think Hope really needs to get him involved in the offense. They've got some good perimeter players too that can really up the energy, but they'll have to get Quillen a big game. On Calvin's side, there's a lot of guys who can really step up at different points, but the one constant is Uchenna Akakazi, fifth-year senior. He's climbing the lists on multiple different all-time lists at Calvin. He's just had a miraculous career here, and I think we're going to see a big game from him tonight too.
All right, when the pregame show presented by Applied Innovation rolls on, we'll be joined by Derek DeVries, the assistant coach at Calvin. That's all ahead here as we get you set for Calvin and Hope, episode number 215, coming up on the Calvin Sports Network here on Michigan Sports Radio, Talk 1230, and CalvinKnights.com.
I was really interested in weaving together those three ideas of medicine and business and engineering into one kind of cohesive thing, because I've started a company to help make low-cost devices for low-resource settings. And so I've developed the Biliroo. The Biliroo helps treat neonatal jaundice for infants in low-resource settings, and it stemmed out of my experiences in Nepal of there being limited phototherapy access there. And so I've developed this device to help treat babies in the way that the parents can be the most involved while harnessing the use of the sun to help treat their jaundice. So the heart of why we created the device is because 1 in every 10 neonates worldwide suffers from moderate to severe jaundice. 6 million infants every year don't have access to the necessary phototherapy treatment to treat their jaundice. I think the mission of Calvin relates really well to my life purpose. I'm so grateful that I chose Calvin because of its integration of faith and academics together, something that the other schools I was looking at didn't have.
Having the ability to do all of my classwork online gives me the opportunity to balance both my schoolwork and football at the same time.
Even though I'm online, I have been able to build community with my professors and classmates through forums where we get to connect and talk about the work that we're doing.
So it really gives you a lot of flexibility to make sure you're doing your work and having that time to engage online and learn as much as you can.
I am a grad student at Calvin University.
Welcome back to Calvin University, just moments away from tip-off of the Calvin Hope Rivalry, episode number 215. Bob Sack alongside Calvin assistant coach Derek DeVries here on the Skipper No String Planning for Success. First of all, Derek, congrats on an incredible win down at Trine on Wednesday night. Go down, knock off the number 2 team in the country, 62-58. Outside of the Hope games, where does that one rank as the thrilling victories on the road for you in your many years here at Calvin?
Yeah, that was a battle of a game, and we knew it would be, especially down the road down in Angola. But, I was proud of how hard the guys fought. They always play incredibly hard, incredibly physical basketball game. But, those Trine games the last 4 years have been just physical, low-scoring battles, and we were able to pull it out at the end, just make a few plays that put us over the top.
The hallmark of this Calvin team early on, Derek's really been on the defensive end.
Yeah.
That happened Wednesday night. It happened a week and a half ago with Hope. What's got your guys buying into the defensive schemes that you and Coach Bill Saul leveled out for them.
Yeah, you know, we're not the most complex defense that ever was, but our guys buy in. They play incredibly hard. I think part of it is if you can't defend, you ain't gonna get on the floor at Calvin University. So, you know, they all buy into that. And you know, Chen leads us, and he's one of the best defenders I've ever seen in my life, and certainly one of the best defenders in Division III basketball. So we go where he goes.
Week and a half ago, a 65-60 win in Holland. Terrific ball game. At times in the second half, it seemed like it was getting away from Calvin a little bit. But again, the defense turned it up. Meanwhile, on the offensive end, Parker Schwartz drops in 19 points. How are you guys figuring out who's going to be the Parker Schwartz today? Who's going to be the fourth or fifth guy that really adds to Uchenna Egekeza and to Owen Bernardo?
Yeah, you know, Trevin Winkle's been doing a tremendous job during conference. He's averaging over 13 points a game. Getting inside, hitting some three-point shots. He's worked his way into being a pretty good three-level scorer, which is what you want. And, you know, Luca Ressler, you know, Parker, Ty Horkey off the bench. These guys they've been around, and they're not afraid to step up in a big moment. And I know 1, 2, 3, all of them. I hope they all do, but we know we have veteran players that have played in these games.
Derek, Hope's lost 3 in a row. It's pretty unusual for the Dutchman. Last week, it was your defense really on the perimeter guys, Werman and Mims. Who else today from Hope do you have to stop to win this game?
I mean, I think that Gabe Gwillen is the best post player in the league and probably a top 5 post player in the country. You know, teams have done a good job of throwing 2, 3 guys at him, but he's a tremendous, you know, load down low, and he can stretch the three-pointer as well. So that's a guy we would just have to be incredibly physical with him, get out to the shot, and just limit his offensive rebounds. He crashes like crazy. So get him off the boards and be physical with him, and we'll see what we can do.
Last question. In the last few games, Calvin's really reversed the slow starts. In the last 3 games, The starts have been pretty quick. How critical is that today to get out of the gate quick?
Yeah, you know, you talk about, you know, punch him in the mouth or, you know, all these coaching cliches, but it just comes down to playing hard and being ready to play. You know, a few of those early conference games, we weren't ready to play, and you look up and you're down 8 points in the first 5 minutes. You know, they've done a better job of being ready to play. It's obviously easier when you got, you know, thousands of people, you know, easier to get going, and I'm not really worried about that today. But, you know, you just got to be ready to play, and our guys will be.
All right, Derek DeVries, good luck today.
Thank you, sir.
When we return, the Applied Innovation pregame show wraps up, gets you ready for tip-off just moments away here at Van Noord Arena. It's Calvin Hope coming up on the Calvin Sports Network.
Are you eager to ask God bold questions? At Calvin University, faith in Jesus Christ is part of our everyday lives. Dive deep into the Word through campus-wide Bible studies where leaders mentor you. Worship daily with friends in chapel, each day with a unique theme. Explore worshiping in other languages and cultures. Own and grow your faith as you learn about God's creation and your purpose in it. This is your invitation to engage, to belong, to grow.
I love the NABE Scholarship Program because I just love how personal these scholarships are for the alumni and for the students. Being a student who grew up in foster care and then getting a scholarship for students who were in foster care and being able to connect with that donor and see the love and the passion that they have for me and being able to resonate with me and what I've gone through. God opened doors that I didn't even know were there. I'm at Calvin and my legacy is starting here.
30 miles. In 1917, a group of Calvin students traveled 30 miles to play a basketball game against the Hope Flying Dutchmen, and a rivalry was born.
Well, we wish you a good afternoon. I'm Warren Reynolds. Today, one of the oldest rivalries in the Midwest, certainly, as Calvin College will host Hope.
8 wins. 8 wins is all that separates these teams in the overall record. And over 105 years later, it remains a game that can make or break a season. Half a point. Half a point is all that decides who wins and who loses. Countless clutch plays and buzzer beaters have shaped the rivalry into what it is now.
Long shot by Henning. Oh, my goodness.
Winkle off Let's hear it, Calvin.
Two iconic programs, separated by 30 miles, 8 wins, and half a point per game, but bonded in a tradition that rings throughout history. This is the Rivalry.
That was 1,000 with an exclamation point. Egakaza back to Varnado, deep three. Oh, off the window.
How about Varnado? He's fired up.
Penetrates, kicks out, Wrestler for three. Luka Wrestler right for the Knights bench.
Now let's go to PA announcer Jason Fossey to introduce our national anthem from the Calvin University Band and a special tribute before we meet today's starting lineups.
Members who lost their lives far too soon. Junior Jennifer Kaczynski of Hope College and graduate student Lizzie Knott of Calvin University were shining lights in their respective communities. Beloved by friends, family, and classmates, their impact will not be forgotten and their absence is deeply felt. In honor of their lives and in support of all who mourn their passing, we ask that you please join us in a moment of silence. Thank you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please rise. And gentlemen, remove your caps as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem, performed this afternoon by the Calvin University Pep Band under the direction of Dr. Stephen Suddeth. Gentlemen, and welcome once again to Van Ord Arena here on the campus of Calvin University for today's MIAA men's basketball matchup featuring the Dutchmen of Hope College and your Calvin Knights. Let's meet the starters from both teams. Up first from Hope College, number 5, Charles Howell. And for your Knights, at forward, a 6'5" junior from McBain, Michigan, number 1, Trevin Winkle. For Hope College, number 10, Justice Nim. And at another forward for the Knights, a 6'7" sophomore from Petoskey, Michigan, number 23, Brady Ewing. For Hope, number 12, Marcus Warman. And at one guard for the Knights, a 6'3" junior from Caledonia, Michigan, number 5, Luka Wrestler. For Hope, number 24, Parker Hovey. And another forward for the Knights at 6'6", a junior from Muskegon, Michigan, number 3, Owen Varnado. For Hope, number 33, Gabe Quillen. And at the other guard for the Knights, standing 6'4" inches tall, a senior from Huntley, Illinois, wearing number 0, Uchenna Agakeza. Hope College is coached by Greg Mitchell. And your Knights are coached by Bill Saul in his 6th season.
Garrett's Appliance, offering the latest lineup of the top appliance brands at very competitive prices. That's Garrett's Appliance, with locations in Wyoming and Kentwood. Our officials for today are Mike Kavulich, Chad Palmer, and Aaron Weber. Mike Lefebvre, you ready?
We're ready to go, Bob.
Owen Vernado will jump it up against Gabe Quillen. The 9-9 Dutchman against the 12-6 Calvin Knights. Calvin controls the opening tip. Luca Ressel will run that offense, number 5 up top. Tries to go back door to Vernado, kicked away by Howell, and Parker Hovey on the run out. Stops at the left elbow. Finds Quillen at the low right block. Good spin move on Ewing. Left it short. Couldn't hit the follow. And Ressler skies for the rebound. Head to Agakeza all the way to the bucket. Couldn't hit the reverse, and Hovey's there to clear.
Get some of the early nerves, Bob. Both teams had a couple looks at layups and couldn't convert.
Charles
Will settle in.
Charles Howell finds Quillen on the left block. Works on Ewing, and they'll call Brady Ewing for that push. Mike, one thing to really watch for today is the rebounding. Hope controls a 7-rebound margin over their typical opponent. We'll share some of the stats over the last few games, but it's been amazing how many offensive rebounds they've corralled in their last 3 games, except against Calvin. Calvin did a great job 2 weeks ago. Hovey spins on Ewing, couldn't finish. Quillen right there for the putback. That rims out. And Trevin Winkle controls for the Knights. Minute in, no score. Agakeza. The Ewing on the right wing. Vernado working on the freshman Charles Howell, getting the start in place of Schoonveld. Finds Ewing, right baseline jumper. Brady Ewing puts Calvin on the board. It's 2-0 Knights.
Great job penetrating by Owen and finding the open man there.
Right wing Howell. Freshman from Cadillac. Schoonveld out of the lineup. He's missed the last couple of games for Hope. Josh Decker questionable for today as well. Dutchman find Quillen down low. He's quadruple teamed in traffic. Ressler comes away with a steal. Ahead to Agakeza to the lane. He lays it off the glass, and it's 4-0 Knights.
Outstanding defense there by Calvin. You see what they're going to do when Quillen gets the ball down low.
That was a double down, Mike. You don't see that very often. Literally 4 guys converging on Gabe Quillen and forced the turnover.
Yeah, that tells me Coach Saul's he's gonna dare Hope to beat him from the perimeter if he's sending that much attention to the post.
Quillen is 6'9", 225-pound senior from Grand Rapids Catholic Central. He and Luca Ressler played together in high school, helped the Cougars win a state title. Top of the key jumper by Agakeza. It's too strong and controlled by Hovey again. Hovey looked at the 3, finds Quillen underneath, and Agakeza prevents the slam, and that'll send Gabe Quillen to the free throw line. I mentioned the focus on, or for Hope, of trying to get the ball inside, and the importance of stopping Gabe Quillen. He averages 14.5 points a game. He's the leading rebounder in the MIAA with 8.5 boards per game. And he is really a guy who you thought, Mike, in the second half of the first game was sort of forgotten.
Yep. Hope kind of went away from him and forgot about him. But you can see early on Hope's attention of getting him the ball down low, and you can see Calvin's attention of making sure he doesn't get to own the paint. So it's the tug of war that's going to go on, and we'll see who comes out of it here.
Talk about the offensive rebounding. It's not abnormal for a team as Quillen splits the pair. And then Renato threw it off Winkle's foot out of bounds. It's not abnormal for a team to rebound maybe 30-35% of their missed shots. The last couple games, Hope has grabbed rebounds on over 50% of their own missed shots.
Yep, they send everybody. They crash the boards hard.
That is
it
one.
Creates a lot of second shots.
One element that Bill Saw was very concerned about today. 2 weeks ago, the Knights really shut that down, holding Hope to under 30% of offensive rebounds. Here's an open three from the top side by Howell. Weak side rebound grabbed by Luca Ressler. Into the front court, watched by Mims. Guns it to Ewing, now back to Ressler, and he splashes down a triple from the left point. It's 7-1 Calvin.
Could be a big part of the game if some of the guys that aren't typically the biggest scorers from Calvin step up and start hitting some shots like Luca just did there.
Quillen backing down Ewing at the left block. Doubled by Ressler. Now they kick it out to Mims. At the left point, right back, bouncing it down low to Quillen. Finds an open Hovey underneath, couldn't handle the pass. He's trapped in the corner. But finds Howell, who goes back to Quillen. Shot clock violation. Great defense by Calvin again. And boy, they have come out with some terrific stymie defense here in the first 3 minutes.
High energy defense. Quillen's limping a little bit down the court. He must have tweaked something, but he's staying in the game. So. I don't know if you noticed, Bob, but we had the Catholic Central matchup there. Luca got switched on Quillen, and they were battling down in the post.
Couple substitutions here. 3.5 minutes in. Brady Miller, number 0, checks in for the Dutch. Also in is Ben Wagger, number 44, and Simon Newhouse, 32. Wagger did not play against Calvin in the first game. The Knights with Parker Schwartz into the game. He of the 19-point output 2 weeks ago in Holland. He is number 2 at that big game that really propelled the Knights offense. Right point Ressler now working on Miller. Kicks it back out to Vernado with 7 on the clock. Vernado drives to the lane, shuffled his feet as he lofted the runner. Turnover goes to the Dutch. Vernado, the centerpiece of this offense. Leading scorer for Calvin, comes in at 15 points a game, just ahead of Uchenna Ikekeza's 14.8. Those are the two guys who've, Mike, just been so consistent all season long.
They have been. They've been leading the team, both really offensively and defensively.
Topside Marcus Werman. He's been quiet here in the first half. Took 20 shots in the first game on his way to 21 points. Can't shake Vernado, so finds Newhouse in the right corner. Shot clock at 10. Werman right point. Attacks, left-handed scoop shot, rolls off, wouldn't go. Hovey there for the rebound and puts it in. Good work on the boards by Hope College, doing what they do, crashing the offensive glass. First field goal of the game for the Dutch. We're at the 15-20 mark, 7-3, Calvin on top. Schwartz finds a cutting Winkle, walled off by Wagger. Ikekeza gets a step on Hovey to the hole. Right-handed layup off the glass is good. Uchenna Ikekeza on the board with his first bucket. It's 9-3. Hovey right side to isolate Quillen down on the right blocks. Kicks it back out to Hovey. Boy, he's had a lot of touches early on, hasn't he? Gets a step on Schwartz. Has his layup swatted away. But they'll call a foul on Schwartz. And that will take us to break here. As we've played 5 minutes, 11 seconds. It's Calvin 9, Hope 3. You're watching the Calvin Sports Network, listening on Talk 1230 WTKG, Michigan Sports Radio, and CalvinKnights.com.
Join the next generation of global business leaders at Calvin University School of Business, offering 8 undergraduate majors and 2 master's degrees, and exceptional faculty with real-world experience who will partner with you and guide you along the way, and opportunities to participate in internships, study abroad programs, and hands-on learning experiences. This is Calvin University School of Business. Your future begins.
Today's featured Calvin student athlete planning for success is sophomore Brady Ewing. The forward from Petoskey is a Calvin Dean's List student holding a grade point average above 3.5, majoring in supply chain management. That's today's Planning for Success, presented by Skipper No Strength Wealth Management, providing the financial clarity, solutions, and service that allows you to focus on what you care about most. Bob Sack along with Mike LeFaber here. A 1-for-7 shooting start for the Dutch has them trailing here 9-3, but it's some really good Calvin defense, Mike.
Really good defense. I'm sure they had a couple of those shots they would have liked back that they should have made, but stifling Calvin defense so far.
Parker Hovey to the free throw line after that foul. He has the only field goal for Hope thus far. Sophomore from Shelby knocks down the first free throw. And it's 9-5 inside of 15 minutes to go. Hovey will sit down Charles Howell back into the game. Hope without Eli Schoonveld again today. Had 9 rebounds the first time these two teams played. Tell you more about him a little bit later. Great story. Unfortunately not in the lineup. Ty Horkey checked in for Calvin. He's number 32, works on Brady Miller on the left wing. Tied up there, so zips it back to Swartz, who drops to Vernado, looks the three in the eye, now drives to the hole. Shot was altered, and rebound grabbed by the Dutch. Howell drive to the paint. Parker Swartz bumped him on the attack, and common foul has the ball out of bounds to Hope. Calvin 4 for 7 now to start this game from the field.
That's too early on Parker, so senior Dane Harvey into the game to replace him.
Bill Saul will go 8 or 9 deep, typically in his bench. Probably an advantage here a little bit to Calvin today too, Mike, just the depth.
I would say so, yes.
Left wing pass for Sam Carlson, squirts between his legs. And that's the 4th turnover already for Hope, and I think you said a little bit of nerves here in the early going of this 215th edition of the rivalry. Topside Winkle to Harvey, now to Horkey, and he traveled as he made his move down the baseline. Calvin as well with their 4th turnover.
And I think most of those travels, I think guys just need to play within themselves a little bit. You get a little excited here early and got to let the game come to you.
Brady Miller, the freshman from Forest Hill Central here in Grand Rapids, wearing number 0. Ben Wagger, 44, he's from Petoskey, senior, played with Brady Ewing in Petoskey. 10 on the clock. Wagger out high, leaves for Howell. 5 on the clock. Backdoor cut to Miller. Lost control, gets it over to Howell, but they will not get the shot off. And Mike, for the second time here early in the game, Calvin's stifling defenses caused a shot clock violation.
It is not easy to play that strong a defense for 30 seconds. And to get it where 2 times in this early in the game that Hope's have struggled to get a shot off is testament to the defense Calvin's playing.
Calvin shot, or rather Hope shot just 39% in that game 2 weeks ago. They've struggled from the field in their losses in the last week to Albion and Trine. Left point, Trevin Winkle's been quiet. Makes it a good move on Hovey, drives to the glass, and as he elevated for the shot, drew contact on Parker Hovey, and that'll send Trevin Winkle to the line. You saw the game Wednesday night at Trine. Boy, he had a stellar performance, did Trevin Winkle.
I think the first half of that game was the best I've seen Trevin play at Calvin. He had 14 points in the first half and played really good defense. Coach Sell told us yesterday, I said, the main reason Trevin's on the floor is his defense has improved so much. And we're seeing that already today, too.
I like Bill's comments about Trevin's defense. 2 years ago, he would have never seen the court.
That's
because
right.
He just didn't understand what it took to play defense at this level. Right. That has been a big change in his game.
He's a skilled offensive player, and he was from the day he arrived here on Calvin's campus. But you're playing for Coach Saw, you're going to have to play on both ends of the court.
As Derek DeVries aptly put it in the pregame show, you don't play defense, you don't play for Calvin.
That's right.
And that defense has really been the calling card here as we hit the halfway point of the season, has propelled the Knights to an 11-game winning streak since their 1-6 start. Winkle hit them both. He had 16 points at Trine on Wednesday to go along with his 9 rebounds and 9th in the MIAA scoring. Gives Calvin a 6-point lead with 13 to go here in the first half. Warman, who still hasn't taken a shot, dribbles it all the way to the baseline and had it go off his leg out of bounds. Marcus Warman had 20 points in that game, but 8 of 21 shooting, rather 21 points on 8 of 20 shooting. He hasn't even sniffed a jumper today as he hunts for a shot.
Yeah, Calvin is paying a lot of attention to him on the perimeter as well. It's obviously he and Quillen are the two that are going to get the most attention.
Knights by 6. Winkle, top of the key, drives on Howell. Down the left side, left that Glasser short. The Dutch control. Josh Decker into the game now, number 11, as Hovey drives the baseline, feeds to Quillen as he skies for the dunk. He's fouled, and that'll send Gabe Quillen to the line. A couple guys in the lineup for Hope that we did not see a week and a half ago. One is Josh Decker, the other is Ben Wagger. Decker's really their best three-point shooter, so he adds another dimension to this Hope offense today.
Yep, he's a good threat from outside, and obviously some of those minutes are from what would have been going to Eli Swinveld before. You see on that last play, there are no easy baskets today, so not going to see any easy dunks, I don't think.
We've played 8 minutes, nearly 8 minutes, and Hope still just has 1 field goal. As Quillen's second free throw drops through, they have 5 free throws and 1 field goal. That's how they've mounted their 7 points. 12 and a half to go. Knights by 4. Right point. Wickle looks underneath for Egekeza. Cut off there by Mims. Now Buchenna's got it on the right block. Spins, loses the defender, and lays it off the glass and in. That's what he does. Not a shooter, but a scorer, and he showed it there.
That's a good way to put it, Bob. He just finds a way to get the ball up on the glass, and more often than not, it goes in the basket.
Marcus Werman, watched by Egekeza. Buchenna did such a great job on him in that second half a week and a half ago. Quillen back to Werman. Again, just cut off on that right side. This time he gets by him though. The shot is blocked by Brady Ewing into the hands of Dane Harvey. Great help defense for Calvin. Left corner, 3-ball on the way, buried by Trevin Winkle, and it's 16-7 Calvin. Left point, Hovey works on Harvey. They clear out for him. Got a height advantage, now backs him down low, bounce pass to Quillen, right block tied up, double teamed again, couldn't get it to go. The foul by Howell wouldn't go, but he was slapped on the wrist and he'll shoot 2 when we come back. Frenetic pace, everything we expected here in episode 215 of the Rivalry. Calvin got him so far at 16-7 Knights. You're listening and watching on the Calvin Sports Network.
This is the Gainey Track and Field Complex. There are innovative features that set Calvin's facilities apart from other universities. First, the space joins a small number of dedicated track and field facilities in NCAA Division III. This means that we don't share with football, lacrosse, soccer, any other team. Our throwing facility is adjacent to the main track. Everything is right here in one location. It's all about track and field all the time.
Hey fans, if you are on a quest to find the best breakfast place near you, your search ends at Anna's House. Discover how Anna's House is saving the world from an ordinary breakfast by visiting any of our 12 restaurants across Michigan. Food, friends, and life. That's Anna's House. 16-7. Calvin's got it going inside and outside on the offensive end, Michael Faber, but the story has been their defense in the first 8 minutes.
Certainly the defense. Hope 1 for 9 from the field. for 11% shooting compared to Calvin's 60%. So, and Calvin has forced 6 turnovers already, not even halfway through the first half.
6 turnovers and have limited the Dutch to just, again, 1 field goal. They've scored their other 5 points, of course, from the line, and that's where Charles Howell is. Looking to cut into this 9-point margin. Calvin with Mims, Werman, Howell, Quillen, and Hovey. Or rather, Hope with that quintet. Calvin counters with Ewing, Egakeza, Varnado, Wrestler, and Winkle. The same 5 that started in the Garrett's Appliance starting lineup. He missed them both. Egakeza back to work for the Knights in the front court. Varnado has been quiet here in the first half, as he often is. Starts slow, but lets the game come to him. Winkle probes the paint, now kicks it right side to Ewing. Sends a 3-ball strong off the weak side, and rebound controlled by the Dutch. Mims gets loose along the left baseline, double team, so kicks it out to Howell, and he splashes down a left point 3. The first triple of the game for Hope.
Really the first open look they've had, and credit to Parker, he knocked it down.
Here's the 3-ball from the left side by Varnado. Grazed the front of the rim. Hovey quickly into the front court. Hovey already with his 4th rebound of the game. Quillen out high guarded by Ewing. Leaves for Werman between the legs. Attacks the basket and finds a cutting Hovey down the left side for 2. Good work by Marcus Werman, doing what he does, stirring the drink there.
Yeah, really good penetration and dish. And a good finish by Hovey.
5 straight for the Dutch, and it's 16-12. Calvin has led all the way in this one so far. Wrestler left point finds Ewing, the low left block. He'll pound his way in on Quillen. Quillen's got him bottled up. Now he lofts a right-hander, sort of a bit of a desperation shot. Brady Ewing got it to go.
I think he just outlasted him there. He was very patient. I think Hope wanted a 3-second call there, but he got the ball up on the glass.
Ewing 2 for 2, 5 points for Brady Ewing to go along with 6 from Egakeza to lead Calvin. Werman top side, Quillen will gun from 3. He'll step out, in and out on that downtown try. Varnado there for the boards. 9 minutes to go. Calvin by 6. We talked, to Derek DeVries for the game. Who's the guy that steps up along with Egakeza and Varnado? And so far, Brady Ewing with a good start off the bench.
Yes.
Uchenna spins, kicks it out to Winkle. He eyed the 3, thought better of it, and with 6 on the clock, leaves for Wrestler. Step back 3 from the top side, lofts it high towards the rim, just short. Elevating for the rebound is Mims. Feeds Howell down low, backs in on a Wrestler, and that's the 7th team. How about the foul disparity early on? Mike, Calvin picks up their 7th team foul. That'll send Hope to the free throw line the rest of the first half. Meanwhile, Hope's committed just 1 foul here in the opening 12 minutes.
That is a big difference, and both teams playing very aggressive defense. So that's something Coach Saul, I'm sure, is reminding the officials of.
Josh Decker, Ben Wagger, Parker Hovey, Charles Howell, Brady Miller with 5, so only Charles Howell and Parker Hovey as starters in the game for Hope at this juncture. Hope now 6 of 7 from the line. It's always interesting, teams when they struggle to get going, you look for something to keep you in the game, and thus far, it's been free throw shooting, as the Dutch have been able to get to the stripe 8 times now, rather 9 times, and 7 of 9. Up by 5, Ty Horkey back in the lineup for Calvin, along with the pink-shoed Parker Schwartz. Whistle off the ball, and they'll get Brady Miller, I think, for a hold on a cutting Ty Horkey. Ty Horkey, the freshman or the senior transfer, grad transfer from Kalamazoo by way of Manchester. Really come along the last few games. Seems to get his flow a little bit.
He's been a great addition to the squad and provided some great backcourt play off the bench.
Whistle and a foul off the ball. That's on Hovey.
Just a little aggressive on that, and then they got tangled up, so they're going to get the call.
Third team foul, so a couple of quick ones for Hope College with 8:17 to go in the first half. Wrestler will trigger in, finds Swartz. Shot clock reset at 20. Corky between the rings, lobs it to Vernado underneath. He goes to work on Wagger. Good strong move by Owen Vernado. Through the contact on Ben Wagger.
So really quick 3 fouls there in a short amount of time on Hope.
Yeah, just talked about the disparity in personal fouls, and it changed quickly. Owen Vernado to the line looking for his first point today. Rattles home the free throw. .77% shooter from the line. Leads the Knights in threes with 31. Guy who can do it at all 3 levels, really, but particularly at the glass and from distance.
Yep, shoot inside, outside, good at the free throw line, and he's good on the defensive end. So Owen's bringing it in all aspects of the game.
Lead back to 7. Calvin has led by as many as 9 since jumping out to that 7-1 start to open the game. Josh Decker, the Newhouse, who's in there. Miller controlling at the left point. Now leaves for Decker, watched by Wrestler. Newhouse probes the lane, leaves for Sam Carlson. 8 on the shot clock. Brady Miller gets free in the paint, off the glass with the 10-foot floater. Falls through, and it's 2015. Good patience by the Dutch on that offensive set.
Yep. And he made a nice head fake to get his defender off the ground and had an easy look.
Vernado, right wing. Watched by Wagger. Now double teamed in the right corner. Leaves for Wrestler, who guns it topside to Egekeza. Gets a step on Miller. Kicks it left corner to Swartz. Free ball. Drains it. Parker Swartz with his first points of the game. A transfer from Ohio Dominican, who had 19 in Holland a week and a half ago, picks up where he left off. 8-point lead for Calvin.
And Bob, you see, just like the earlier 3 from Trevin Winkle, it all comes from when somebody penetrates into the lane and kicks it out.
Corner pocket 3 by Decker, wouldn't go. Battle for the rebound. Carlson tried to tip it in, couldn't do it, and Swartz climbed the ladder to clear it for Calvin. Ahead to Vernado. Bounces it back out to Swartz at the right point. Leaves for Egekeza, who works the lane, spins. Through contact on Carlson. Newhouse was there as well. They'll get Carlson for the bump with 6:33 to go here in the first half. Calvin up 23-15. You're watching and listening to the Calvin Sports Network on AM Talk 1230 WTKG, Michigan Sports Radio, and CalvinKnights.com. Around the MIAA today is brought to you by NAI Wasinski of West Michigan, West Michigan's largest independently owned commercial real estate firm. Today's schedule has Alma at Albion, Adrian's at Trine, Olivet's at Kalamazoo, and most notably tonight, the rivalry continues with the women's edition. Mike Calvin is at Hope, 7 p.m. tonight. And Hope rolling along in this section of the rivalry with 19 in a row, but boy, Calvin looked good in a tough loss against Trine on Wednesday.
They did. They tried and made a basket in the last seconds to a three-pointer to win that game by 3. So Calvin was right there, and we worked that game when Hope was here at Calvin about 6 weeks ago, Bob, and it was a really competitive game too. That I think Hope ended up winning by 8 or 10, but Calvin's right there. Just got to figure out how to close it in the last minutes of those games.
Egakeza at the line gives the Knights the 9-point lead, equals their biggest margin of the basketball game. Hope shooting just 26% here in the first half on 4 of 15 from the field. Calvin conversely at 8 of 15. Knights now 6 of 6 from the line as Uchenna Egakeza, 66% free throw shooter, drains them both. 25-15, biggest lead of the day for Calvin. Werman to the glass on Egakeza, too hard off the flange, out of bounds to the Dutch. Talked about the offensive rebounds, 5 so far for Hope. Although it seems like Calvin's doing a decent job on the defensive glass. Dutch still getting their second chances. But that's only resulted in 2 points.
That's right. That's right. On a play like that one, for instance, that ball's coming up hard off the glass, and Trevin got his hand on it, just couldn't corral it.
Zach Hawes, number 3, is checked in for Hope. Brady Miller's pass tipped away by Egakeza into the backcourt. Werman will track it down. 6 on the clock. Dutch got to hurry here. Werman a pull up from 25, swished it through. How about that for a shot clock desperation heave? Marcus Werman with some effective work to bail out Hope on that one.
That's the kind of player Marcus is. He's going to make a big shot like that when the shot clock's running down. Big play for them from a momentum standpoint.
Bernardo right wing, watched by Newhouse, uses the Schwartz screen, left the runner scoop shot short. Cleared by Hope. They find Hawes in the left corner. Boy, he had a wide open lane to the basket, but had his back heel on the line. Turnover back to Calvin. That is the 7th turnover for Hope. They've settled down a little bit, though. Had a lot of turnovers early in the first 6 or 7 minutes, but in the last 6 or 7 have played much more steady.
Yeah, they're settling into a pace now. Turnovers like that, though, drive a coach crazy when a player doesn't know where he is on the floor.
Bernardo hands to Horky, cycles to the left wing, and then Bernardo, just as you say that, and shuffled his feet on the move.
Yep.
5th turnover for Calvin. Leading scorers in the game so far, 4 for Charles Howell for Hope. Parker Hovey has 6 to lead the Dutch. Same amount of points for Uchenna Egakeza to lead Calvin, 6 points. Parker Schwartz with that big game last Wednesday. How about this? If you're Parker's parents, you see your older son have a great game. Then the next night, son Brady at Northview hits a buzzer beater for Northview to beat South Christian in a high school showdown. So pretty good 24 hours for the Schwartz family.
They are, and they got a busy schedule this winter, I'm sure. That probably got both boys with 2 games a week.
Brady Miller returns the favor there by stepping on the line. That's the 2nd time on 2 possessions that Hope has done that. So 3 straight possessions and 3 straight turnovers. Just as we were extolling the settled version of this game, all of a sudden these 2 teams have coughed it up here the last few possessions. Horky gets free on the right wing, knocks down a 2-pointer. Good jumper by Ty Horky, his first deuce of the game, and it's 27-18. Werman watched by Egakeza, got away with a shuffle there. He's looking for Quillen underneath, finds him on the bounce with the left block. Spins on Bernardo. Bernardo doesn't buy the fake. Now Quillen backs off. Little fall away. Won't go. Gabe Quillen has really been contained here in this first half. Just 3 points on 3 free throws. 27-18 with 4 to go. Horky slipped on a wet spot there. He's called for traveling.
Those are unfortunate. You'd like to not have the court cause a turnover, but in that case, Ty lost his balance. Like you said, probably a wet spot. But
Calvin by 9. They've led the entire game. If you just joined us, up 7-1 out of the gate. Maintained a 4-point to 9-point lead throughout this game. Werman's 3-pointer from the left wing is short. Knights into the front court. Uchenna Egekeza has it poked away by Hawes into the hands of Quillen. Defenses have stiffened here in these last 5 possessions. Werman probes the lane, now kicks it right baseline to Mims. He'll back in on Dane Harvey. Fall-away jumper from 7 is off the back of the flange. Ripped down by Calvin. Ressler hands to Harvey. Hounded by Howes out top. Parker Schwartz at the right point. Between the leg dribble. Checked by Howell. Finds Egekeza underneath, who kicks it left corner to a wide open Brady Ewing. And he drains a triple. How about Brady Ewing? 8 points here in the first half. And it's a 12-point Knights lead. Werman spins in the lane. Too strong on the turnaround jumper. Ressler skies for the board. Quickly ahead to Ewing. Thought about a heat check there.
I thought he was going up.
Backs it off to Winkle, who bounces it down low to Dane Harvey, and he'll reset to Ressler top side. 15 on the shot clock. Harvey cycles around to the right elbow, finds Ewing again, right corner. Had it spin out, looked good. Couldn't get it to go. Werman, good shake and bake on Ressler. Now he's double teamed the right block, kicks it out to Mims, left wing. Fakes, drives, and pulls up for a 12-footer in the left elbow for 2. And that cuts the lead to 30-10. Full timeout here, full media timeout. Chance for us to tell you that starting Monday, February 3rd, Big E's Restaurant on East Beltline, that's this Monday, is home for Inside Calvin Basketball. A 30-minute program featuring men's coach Bill Saul, plus coaches and players from the men's and women's basketball teams. The show airs live on 96.1 The Game, the Michigan Sports Radio. You are welcome to join the live audience and enjoy the delicious menu items from Big E's. That's Inside Calvin Basketball starting this Monday, February 3rd at Big E's on 96.1 The Game and Michigan Sports Radio. This Monday, the show features visits with Owen Varnado and Uchenna Egekeza, so come out and meet those 2 phenomenal student athletes. Inside Calvin Basketball is brought to you in part by Garrett's Appliance, a local family-owned business serving West Michigan for over 75 years and offering the largest selection of appliances in the area. That's Garrett's Appliance with locations in Wyoming and Kentwood. Mike, the pivotal final 3 minutes of the first half. Talk about the last 3 or 4 minutes of the first half, the first 3 or 4 of the second half. What is Bill Saul and Greg Mitchell telling their teams here in this timeout?
Yeah, well, from Calvin's perspective, you had a really good first half, and you got a 10-point lead with 2.5 to go, and you want to end on a high note. Ideally, having a bigger lead than what you have now. If Hope can run a little run, which I'm sure is what Coach Mitchell is saying, and you cut it to 6 or 4, suddenly you're feeling a lot better about what the second half looks like. So pivotal 2.5 minutes here.
Calvin has Winkle, Ressler, Egekeza, Schwartz, and Harvey in the lineup. Hope counters with Carlson, Werman, Howell, Newhouse, and Mims. Trevin Winkle between the rings, bounces it right side to Ressler, looks backdoor for Egekeza. He's cut off, so he tries to find Winkle underneath, and Justice Mims nicely stepped in front of that pass and picked it off.
Coach Saul hates to see that turnover coming out of a timeout. You want to draw something up and see if you can get a good shot, and then to not get a shot up is disappointing.
Newhouse with 12 on the clock to Mims, dribbles to the free throw line. Good defense by Ressler, sends it back to Werman with 5 on the clock. He's working on Schwartz. Schwartz holds his ground. Werman falls away and drains it from 15 at the left wing. How about that, Marcus Werman?
A really good shot, really good defense by Parker, but a better shot.
Cuts the lead to 8, 30-22. Egekeza underneath. Got a mismatch on Mims. Elevates in the lane. Drew the push. Uchenna will go to the line. Pretty good first half for Uchenna Egekeza. Played 16 minutes. 3 out of 5 from the field. Couple free throws. And he'll look to add to his point total here of 8. Check that 6. Missed the first free throw. Zach Hawes and Josh Decker return to action for Hope. Varnado back on the floor for Calvin, along with Wrestler, Egekeza Winkle, and Parker Swartz. Egekeza splits the pair, and it's again a 9-point lead for the Knights. Right corner, Zach Hawes looking inside for Howell. Can't hit him, so back to Worman between the rings. Uses the Howell screen. Now they kick it left corner to Hawes for an open three, and he drills that. Zach Hawes, the senior from Langsburg, did not play against Calvin 10 days ago. His triple makes it 31-25. Bill Saul, with 57 seconds to go, wants to talk it over. .57 seconds to go, 31-25. New at Van Noord Arena for this edition of the Rivalry is a hospitality terrace. Great to see a couple of Calvin's athletic partners enjoying the game with friends and clients up on the east end of the floor. Casey Lowry, John Kneinenbell, Scott Gridwas, and the good folks at Applied Innovation right next to them. From Skipper Steve Ostrink and the team from Skipper and Ostrink enjoying today's game in the hospitality terrace here for a full house at Van Noord Arena. Mike, it's been a series that has had its ebbs and flows over the years, and you've been watching this for, gosh, probably 4 or 5 decades.
Yep.
You know, Calvin comes into this game clearly as the favorite, yet, as we expected, you don't take that for granted because Hope's right there here with a minute to go in the first half.
There's very few times over the 40 years that I've been watching this rivalry that it's not a really competitive game, regardless of what's going on with the season with both teams leading into it. And this is going to be no different today.
Varnado, right point, watched by Charles Howell. Zips it to Horky, he'll probe the lane, kick to Egekeza in the right corner. Nice ball movement, finds Horky in the right corner for an open three, no. Pinball rebound, knocked out of bounds by Swartz. Hope's got it with 36 seconds to go, down by 6. Harvey replacing Swartz.
So, Bob, this is what we were talking about at the 2.5-minute mark. Hope looking to cut the deficit by halftime, and they've done that, and they got a chance to cut it, make it even tighter. So, Greg Mitchell's got to be feeling good about that.
The lead was as many as 12, Mike, 30-18, and now Hope has outscored Calvin to 7-1 over these last 3 or so minutes. 6-second differential on the shot clock and the game clock here. Marcus Worman catalyzes the Hope offense from the point. 5 on the clock, they'll clear out for him. Working on Harvey, pulls up for 3 from the left wing and drains it. Marcus Worman with a big shot. 3 seconds to go. Horky at the buzzer, no, and that's the way we end this first half. As expected, we've got a dandy. Calvin up by as many as 12 in the first half. Sees their lead pecked away at by Hope, and with 1 half in the books, it's Calvin 31 and Hope 28. Stay tuned, the halftime show coming up, presented by Lake Michigan Credit Union. It'll have first half stats, highlights, and analysis, plus we'll be joined live by Calvin's Director of Athletics, Jim Timmer. That's all ahead on the halftime show, presented by Lake Michigan Credit Union, where members love earning more when they save and paying less when they borrow. That's all ahead. You're watching the Calvin Hope, episode 215 on the Calvin Sports Network.
The best part of grad school would be the connections that you make, not only with your cohort, but with the professors as well.
I felt very supported, and I don't feel alone in the program.
I just really feel like each individual in the program gets a relationship with the professors in a different way that's meaningful to them and is more geared to them.
I'm a grad student at Calvin University. Yay! Okay.
Hey, I'm Andrew, a freshman here at Calvin University. Just a little under a year ago, I found myself in the frenzy of applying to colleges, scholarships, and more. Amidst this, I found out about Calvin's Entrada Scholars program, a summer opportunity where I could take a college course for transferable credits and begin familiarizing myself with college life. At first though, I was hesitant to go. I didn't know if I even wanted to attend Calvin yet, let alone spend my last summer before college. Well, at college. In hindsight though, I wouldn't have traded that month on campus for anything else. One of the most impactful parts of my experience was learning how to navigate my transition from high school to college, whether it be learning to take better notes, adjusting to living with a roommate, or making the decision to hang out with my new friends instead of working on that writing assignment, and try to give me first-hand exposure to what is now part of my daily life as a freshman. Being able to connect with people my age who shared similar values and backgrounds transformed Entrada into something truly more than I expected. In just a few weeks, I felt as though I had grown so much more than just academically with everyone in the program. As for my fears of missing out on a summer of getting to have fun, there certainly wasn't any shortage of that. After returning this fall, having a head start with friends, classes, and simply being familiar with campus has definitely improved my confidence in being a capable college student while still being able to enjoy myself. And for all the juniors out there, Entrada can still help you discover what you're looking for in a college. Just like it helped confirm that Calvin was the right choice for me, I believe the program will give each student experiences that can help them begin their own college journey.
At Calvin, our faith in God and pursuit of excellence drives us. Our new soccer stadium reflects that commitment, offering a premier space for our student athletes to compete on and off the field. Whether you're an athlete, a summer camper, or a spectator, join our community of Knights at Calvin University.
Welcome to the halftime show presented by Lake Michigan Credit Union. Bob Sack alongside former Calvin national champ Mike LeFaber, 31-28. Knights on top. Mike, interesting first half. Calvin really came out strong, took a 7-1 lead, stifling defense to start that first half. The lead ballooned to as many as 12. Stayed between really 4 and 10 most of the first half. But boy, Hope roars back at the end thanks to Marcus Werman.
Marcus Werman got hot, and I think Greg Mitchell's got to be thrilled to just be down 3 based on how the majority of that half went. And on the other side of things, Coach Saul's a little frustrated, right? Probably feeling like we should be up by more than 3 at this point. So he's going to be telling the team in the locker room, you just can't let up your guard, and particularly with Marcus Werman, because we can see what he can do when he gets hot.
First half stats, Hope shot just 36% on 9 of 25 shooting. Calvin shooting 47% on 10 of 21. Rebounds, something that we watched for throughout the game, 17-13. Hope has that margin. They've had 6 offensive rebounds. Leading scorers in the first half for Hope, it's Parker Hovey with 6, got off to a strong start and then really slowed after that. But actually it's Marcus Werman who has 8. He leads the Dutch and has really propelled them to get back in this game here in the first half. 4 for Charles Howell and 3 for Gabe Quillen. That's been a big story too, the way Calvin has shut down Gabe Quillen. For the Knights, they're led by Uchenna Ikeza with 9. Brady Ewing has 7. 5 for Trevin Winkle. 3 each for Luca Ressler and Parker Schwartz. Knights 4 of 11 from downtown. Hope 4 of 8. It's really been Marcus Werman who sparked that at the end. All right, we'll step aside, and when we return on the Lake Michigan Credit Union halftime show, we will be joined by the Director of Athletics at Calvin, Jim Timmer. Talk about all the exciting momentum happening with Calvin Athletics, recap a little of that football season, and get you set for the second half. You're watching and listening to the Calvin Sports Network on Michigan Sports Radio, AM Talk 1230 WTKG, and CalvinKnights.com.
I was really interested in weaving together those 3 ideas of medicine and business and engineering into one kind of cohesive thing, because I've started a company to help make low-cost devices for low-resource settings. And so I've developed the Biliroo. The Biliroo helps treat neonatal jaundice for infants in low-resource settings, and it stemmed out of my experiences in Nepal of there being limited phototherapy access there. And so I've developed this device to help treat babies in the way that the parents can be the most involved while harnessing the use of the sun to help treat their jaundice. So the heart of why we created the device is because 1 in every 10 neonates worldwide suffers from moderate to severe jaundice. 6 million infants every year don't have access to the necessary phototherapy treatment to treat their jaundice. I think the mission of Calvin relates really well to my life purpose. I'm so grateful that I chose Calvin because of its integration of faith and academics together, something that the other schools I was looking at didn't have.
Having the ability to do all of my classwork online gives me the opportunity to balance both my schoolwork and football at the same time.
Even though I'm online, I have been able to build community with my professors and classmates through forums where we get to connect and talk about the work that we're doing.
So it really gives you a lot of flexibility to make sure you're doing your work and, you know, having that time to engage online and learn as much as you can.
I am a grad student at Calvin University.
You got a lot of...
Welcome back to Calvin University, Van Noord Arena, the site for episode number 215 of the Rivalry. Bob Sack with you here on the Lake Michigan Credit Union Halftime Show, joined by the Director of Athletics here at Calvin University, Jim Timmer. And you know, you and I talk about basketball a lot, and we know how important the last 4 minutes of a half are and the first 4 minutes of the second half. And boy, that was the case here. Calvin leading most of the first half, really all the first half. But what a run by Hope to get it close.
You know, that's what makes the rivalry great. You know, you're never out of it. Both teams have tremendous fight. We would expect that from them. I'm probably a little disappointed, but overall, hey, play with the lead. The next 4 are important.
A lot to talk about here, Jim, over these next few minutes about Calvin athletics. But I want to first hit on the women's basketball. Terrific effort by Calvin's women the other night against Trine. You were there on the call, and a team that just needs to get over that hump with a big win. Took Trine all the way to the buzzer in a heartbreaking loss by 3 points. But what's your thoughts on the women's team and just how close they are as they get ready to meet Hope tonight?
Well, I think their roster has improved so much over the last 2 or 3 years, and our depth is there. We have a lot of injuries that they've overcome, and boy, they're really playing well. And those two teams are top 15 nationally, and to get over the hump means that, hey, we're really, really good. And I think all we need is that one opportunity, and tonight there's another one.
Speaking of women's athletics, a lot of momentum here at Calvin with regards to women athletics. I want to talk about the newest kid on the block, the acrobatics and tumbling team. Alan Barker's been hired as a new head coach. How did you arrive at bringing athletics and tumbling to the sports lit roster here at Calvin?
Well, you know, it's interesting because in the state of Michigan, we had Trine and Adrian, both teams in our conference, and that's where Adrian's former coach is, Alan Barker. And I watched it develop, and I thought, you know, here's the thing. It's really, really athletic. It's very dynamic, awesome to watch. And, you know, it was a good compliment to us because we didn't have a lot of overhead costs. We had a nice arena. Travel was going to be relatively local. Now they're going to go to Buffalo, and then I think nationals are in West Virginia or somewhere there. But I think there's interest, good gymnastics at Rockford and Jennison and some of the locals, and she's been able to go down to Indiana and get some other athletes. It's going to be a really unique. I would invite, you know, Night Nation to come out and watch them play. They have 18 young ladies that are really going to compete hard.
Starts February 14th.
Yep.
Quick question for you. What's the difference between gymnastics at the NCAA level and acrobatics and tumbling?
So this is more of a team competition in that they will have, we think of the tumbling runs. Those tumbling runs are choreographed. So think synchronized swimming versus individual gymnastics. So runs of 1, 2, 4, and then a team event of 15. Now, prior to that, they have compulsories where they have to do the kind of the basic stuff. And so you got to get through those and then go ahead and try to beat your opponent in the tumbling runs.
Let's totally shift gears. You and I haven't been together a little bit to recap the first ever Calvin football season. What a season it was. Trent Figg doing a great job. A couple of months have passed now since the last game. What's been your reflections on a much discussed and much celebrated initial year of football for Calvin?
Well, it always starts with gratitude. I think that the Calvin community embraced it, and we're grateful for that. It's going to be a heavy lift. It continues to be a heavy lift to get a program that we hadn't had for 100 years up to speed and up to the expectations that we have at Calvin. Coach Figg and his staff, you know, I said to him after the season, he goes, well, now we're really a football team. We have a returning group. We have to go through the coaching carousel. We've had some changes in our defensive side of the ball, which is totally expected. And, you know, we got a bunch of recruits here today, and we're trying to get to that signing day at February 5 and get some future nights.
All right, Jim Timmer, as always, great to have you with us. Can't
Thanks,
wait
Bob.
to see all the good things in the
do.
spring as well. Lake Michigan Credit Union Halftime Show rolls on. When we come back, we'll get you ready for the second half here on the Calvin Sports Network.
My name is Nate Napper. I'm a 2008 graduate of Calvin University, and I'm currently a special agent with the FBI. I'm also an attorney, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Joseph Project. I'm of the opinion that there is no reason why every single human trafficking survivor in need of legal services shouldn't be given those services free of charge. And the idea was to connect them with pro bono legal help so that they could resolve that legal collateral damage and move forward into a brighter future. I've always resonated with the idea that we could be agents of renewal, right? That we could work and cooperate alongside the vision that God has for the world. If you're willing to submit to his path in obedience, dream the dreams that he would have you enact for the world, I think that you'll go places that you would never imagine going.
Welcome back to Van Dorn Arena. Bob Sack along with Mike Lefebvre, former Calvin national champ. And Mike just went over the Mercantile Bank halftime stats. What stuck out to you as you looked at the numbers from the first half of this 31-28 basketball game?
Well, you know, Bob, I think it feels like Calvin was in control most of that half, and some of the numbers reflect that 47% field goal percentage as opposed to Hope's 36. But I think a couple things that are keeping Hope close is, first of all, 6 offensive rebounds to 0 for Calvin. And Hope is 4 of 8 from the three-point line. So shooting a really high percentage from 3. So keeping them in it at this point.
Here we go. The second 20 minutes begins. That all-important 4 minutes for either one of these teams to establish themselves as we start the second half. Hope on the offensive end first. Gabe Quillen very quiet in that first half. He's backing down Brady Ewing. Ewing walls him off, so Quillen kicks it right corner to Charles Howell. He's double-teamed by Ewing and Varnado. Back to Mims with 3 on the clock, all the way to the hole. Couldn't get it to go. Great defense by Calvin as Varnado elevates for the boards. Wrestler hesitates. Works in the lane now. Kicks it back out to Egekeza. He'll reset with Luka topside to Brady Ewing on the right wing. Varnado open for a topside 3. Had it on line, but left it short. Quillen there for the boards. Critical first 4 minutes here. No score in the first minute of the second half. Mims, who's been quiet as well, bounces to Howell, left wing 3 ball on the way. That rims out into the hands of Wrestler. Quickly back the other way, finds Vernado, right blocks, challenges Quillen, now dumps it off to Winkle underneath, and Quillen was able to adjust and block that shot. And you're right, Mike, Quillen looks like he's
laboring
limping
a little coming down the court, yeah.
Marcus Werman had that big closing minutes of the first half with 9 points. Bounces it down low to Quillen. He backs in on Egakeza. They'll get Uchenna for the hold. That is second foul on Uchenna Egakeza. You spotted that in the first half. Gabe Quillen just a little tender, it looks like, on one of those ankles.
Yeah, he's favoring it a little bit for sure. I don't know if he tweaked it here, if it was something he's been dealing with or if it was a fresh ankle sprain, but it appears to be what it is.
On the pin down handoff, Howell misses from 3 on the left wing. Egakeza controls. Sets it up to Wrestler. Top of the key, all the way to the hole. Luka lays it in. Luka Wrestler with his second field goal. Now 5 points to strike first here in the second half for the Knights. Parker Hovey, little ball fake and attacks the right side, but dribbles it off his leg. Good defense by Trevin Winkle. Walled him off perfectly. Hovey had nowhere to go.
Yeah, Calvin did a nice job again. Just making Hope uncomfortable. Right? It was just a little bit of a bump, just something to get them off their pace, and then you lose the ball like he just did.
Charles Howell and Parker Hovey sit down, replaced by Ben Wagger and Simon Newhouse. Newhouse, the sophomore from East Grand Rapids. Egakeza sets up the offense, right elbow to Bernardo. Backs in on Waggers, fell down, now finds Wrestler open for a 3 at the right wing. Couldn't get it to go, and Quillen there for the rebound. Hope still without a basket here in the second half. We're 2.5 minutes in. Newhouse stops at the free throw line. Left side to Mims. He's been quiet, just 2 points. Feeds Quillen underneath and pushed again. He's a load under there. You're jockeying for position, and it spends some fouls, doesn't it?
And he has a load, and the referees that's the second one they've called with the Hope player backing in on the post and the Calvin player trying to hold their position. But referees maybe trying to get something, make sure that stays under control.
Inbounds passes a lob to Quillen. He couldn't get the shot off, so finds Mims, who penetrates and then dishes to Newhouse. He can't hit the runner on the left baseline from 10. Bernardo there for the glass, to clear the glass for Calvin. Wrestler backs down the lane, fell as he did. Coughs it up into the hands of Marcus Werman. Werman all the way to the hole. Bernardo held him before he got to the lane. Common foul. Now we are 3 minutes and some change, Mike, into the second half, and kind of like the first half. Yep. Hope has not been able to tally a field goal.
But Kelvin's picking up the fouls, so at this rate they'll be in the bonus here pretty quickly. So,
13 foul on the Knights. There was a point in the first half where Calvin had 17 fouls and Hope had just 1. Right now it's 3-0 to start this second 20 minutes. Hovey backing down Parker Schwartz at the right block. Pump fake, spins, no, the call for travel. Before he lofted that shot, turnover back to Calvin.
When you're facing that defense just time after time after time, your instinct is to try to, you just got to make something else happen, and that's when travels occur and things like that. That's the type of thing Calvin's forcing Hope into now.
Calvin riding an 11-game winning streak. Hope reeling from a 3-game losing streak. Something's got to give here in episode 215 of the rivalry this afternoon. Calvin's led the entire game today as Trevin Winkle backs down Newhouse, floats up a right-hander off the glass from the right block and drops it home.
Really nice isolation play there by Trevin. He can make those all day.
He had 8 in the first game. Has 7 here in this one. Calvin back to a 7-point lead. Werman's works so hard off the ball, doesn't he? Draws the switch, gets Schwartz up in the air, left-handed runner wouldn't go. Controlled by Winkle. Motors into the front court, hesitates, drives on Newhouse, and at the glass is fouled by Simon Newhouse. That'll send Winkle to the free throw line. Winkle, the 6'5" junior from famed Northern Michigan Christian. Timeout for immediate timeout here with 15:51 to go. Calvin scored the only 4 points of the second half. They lead Hope 35-28 on the Calvin Sports Network. This month in Calvin Sports History is presented by Applied Innovation. Today we highlight the 2016 women's track and field team that captured the MIAA Indoor Championship. The meet was staged at Trine University and was the first such indoor championship held by the MIAA since 1948. And the Calvin Knights prevailed to win that 2016 championship. That's this month in Calvin Sports History, presented by Applied Innovation, connecting Calvin alums for 35 years. Well, Mike Lefebvre, one of the special things about this game is people from all over the world are watching it at watch parties. You see on your screen there parties throughout the country and some 70 spots over the years. That's a very special part of this series.
It is really fun, and I've heard from a few of my friends that are in different parts of the country today that said they're listening to us and watching the game. And shout out to folks in Bellflower, California, and Visalia, California, and Seattle, and Chicago, and Milwaukee, and Denver. There are a lot of Calvin alumni and Hope alumni, I'm sure, too, watching this game today.
Well, we talk about the first 4 minutes of the second half, and it's been Calvin really establishing itself on the defensive end. This game was a 31-28 score at the break. Calvin has scored the game's 5 points here to start the second half. They have done it with some terrific defense. Meanwhile, getting to the rack as well. It's been more of an attacking offense here in the second half from Calvin. Winkle splits the pair, and the lead remains at 8, 36-28. Norman right side to Wagger. Down low to Quillen. Hope's really gotten back to that, haven't they? Trying to find Gabe Quillen underneath. Here's a nice poke away by Bernardo. Great defense again into the hands of Horkey. To Swartz, he'll launch from 30 out front. No, long rebound to Quillen. That's a green light. That's a green light player, Mike.
I'm not sure that's the one Coach Stahl was looking for.
Back the other way, Werman probes at the free throw line, finds Hovey underneath. He muscles up a jump hook from the left block, and that's the first Dutch basket of the second half. Parker Hovey, who scored 6 early on, been quiet since. He now has 8, and it's 36-30. Topside Winkle makes a move on Hovey, jabbed it away. Nice defensive play by Parker Hovey, doing it on both ends. Stolen away by Winkle. Ahead of the pack and slapped by Hovey as he was ready to elevate. Should be before the shot, or are they going to send him to the free throw line?
They are going to send him to the line, yep.
Good call. He had just sort of started his motion upwards.
Yep.
Hovey made the play.
Great job by Trevin to return the favor and bring it down and go up.
Hovey averages 11 points a game for Hope, 6 rebounds and 3 assists. He's really the guy that does it on all facets for the Dutch as Winkle hits the first. Wrestler back in the lineup.
I haven't seen Trevin's dad Tracy here yet today, but I'm sure he's up there. He's usually pretty easy to spot because the nerves don't let him sit down. He'll be pacing somewhere.
Winkle now in double figures. He has 10. He's the first Calvin Knight in double figures. Matter of fact, the first of any of these players today. Brady Miller into the game for Hope. Backs down Horkey. Now they'll kick it outside to Quillen, who finds Miller in the left corner. Eyed by Horkey. Stops at the right elbow. Fall away jumper. Too strong. Pinball to Owen Bernardo. Calvin up by 8 with a chance to rattle off a double-digit lead here. Bernardo with just one basket today, Mike. Underneath Horky had a good feed from Ressler. Backdoor cut. Luca Ressler finds Ty Horky for the lay-in. And it's a 10-point game.
Great cut by Ty to Bernardo. Calvin does need to get him going.
Back the other way. Zach Hawes with a good drive. Couldn't hit it, though. Swartz rebounded. Calvin can extend that lead. They have held Hope to just 2 points here in the second half. Good hard drive by Swartz. Quillen slapped him on the arm on the way up, and that'll send Parker Swartz to the stripe. Boy, Calvin offensively, Mike, here in the second half, I think really trying to get downhill.
Definitely taking the ball to the basket and back cuts. And they've achieved what you were talking about earlier, that winning that first few minutes of the second half. It's a 9-2 run here, and hopefully a little more for Calvin.
Interesting, too, much like the beginning of the first half, Calvin's really neutralized Marcus Werman to start this second half.
That's right. They're making him give it up and guarding that three, not letting him step into those three-point shots.
He just joined us. Hope was down by as many as 12 in the first half. Marcus Werman sparked a late first half run with 9 points that got the Dutch within 3 at the break. Now Calvin's extended the lead back to 10. Swartz missed a couple of free throws. Greg Mitchell going to take a timeout, talk it over, and we'll stay right here. Look inside that Calvin huddle, Mike Lefebvre, and you see included in that group, Uchenna Egekeza, Ty Horky, couple guys on the floor right now. Another solid game for Egekeza. Horky just scored a basket, and those are two guys that are grad students from Fort Calvin. Of course, Egekeza from Chicagoland, Horky from Manchester. They are part of Calvin's MBA programs, one of 12 grad programs now offered by Calvin this fall with the addition of the Master of Science in Nursing and Master of Social Work. Calvin now has a dozen master's degree and 10 certificate options for adult learners. It's really added to the opportunities for players to come back and play another year, hasn't it? The grad programs at Calvin?
It has. It's been a neat opportunity, and Uchenna and Ty are part of the last class that has eligibility from the weird COVID situation when those years didn't count. So they're taking advantage of it from the standpoint of being able to play basketball, but also working on their advanced degrees as well. So neat opportunity for both the student athletes and for Calvin. Keep them around a little longer.
.38 to go. Greg Mitchell with that timeout. What's his message to his team now after the slow start in the second half?
Yeah, I think they got to get focused on making sure Werman and Quillen have a chance to those are the guys they need that are going to take them out of this if they're going to do that. So you got to give your best players a chance.
Werman between the rings, watched by Egekeza, one of the best defensive players Calvin's ever had. He's got a tall order that he is living up to today. They double team, triple team, Quillen down low, come away with a steal, and jetting into the front court. Calvin has it deflected, and they'll retain possession. Great defense down low on Quillen.
Yeah, two, three guys coming at him every time when he gets that low. Coach Mitchell's looking for a little contact down there, but the refs are letting him play. Egekeza
just 5 steals away from becoming the all-time steal leader at Calvin, chasing Chris Knuster, one of the greats to wear the maroon and gold. See his great work defensively on Werman. Winkle driving to the basket. He was tied up as he ran into traffic. Jump ball call, and Calvin will have it out underneath.
Chris was a teammate of mine back in the day for 2 years, and I can attest he could do it all. Both certainly scoring, but also had a great anticipation.
Bernardo goes to work on Howell. Howell with good defense. So Bernardo finds Swartz in the left corner. He eyed the 3 and then took it all the way to the rack and laid it in for an easy 2.
Pretty drive by Parker there.
12-point lead. Calvin coming out strong here in the second half. Hovey with a jumper from the free throw line is good, and Trevin Winkle was late getting to contest that shot. As he did, he fouled him. Winkle came down hard on that right ankle, and he's going to take a seat. Dane Harvey will replace him. Good shot by Parker Hovey. That's his 10th point. He now leads the Dutch in scoring. Hope needed that one.
They needed that badly. Yeah, big shot by Parker, and now a chance to add a three-point play to it.
Winkle leads Calvin with 10. Hovey leads Hope with 10 as well. Rebound jump ball controlled by Howell. They'll call it jump ball on the rebound between he and Swartz. Possession arrow goes to Hope. 12:30 to go. 10-point lead. Calvin held Hope to just one field goal to start this second half. Hovey uses the Quillen screen. Now they'll give it to Werman, who let Haas set up between the rings. Topside Howell rotates to Werman. Step back three from the top of the key. Bangs it home. Marcus Werman with a good looking three ball. His first field goal of the second half. He now has 12. Igakeza spinning on Howell. Kicks it left side to Harvey. Eyed the three. Nice scoop shot all the way to the hole. It just fell off the rim.
Great drive by Dane there. Just couldn't finish it.
Back the other way. Good transition defense by Calvin. Stops the fast break. Werman left point. To Hawes on the left wing. Down low to Quillen. Backs down on Igakeza. Out to Hawes. Shot partially blocked nicely by Ressler. Saved by Igakeza. Out of bounds. It'll stay with Hope. And that sends us to our under 12 timeout. 7-point game. Calvin with a good start to the second half. They lead the Dutch 42-35 on the Calvin Sports Network. You're listening on AM 1230 Talk WTKG, Michigan Sports Radio, and CalvinKnights.com.
At Calvin, our faith in God and pursuit of excellence drives us. Our new soccer stadium reflects that commitment, offering a premier space for our student athletes to compete on and off the field. Whether you're an athlete, a summer camper, or a spectator, join our community of Knights at Calvin University.
Having the ability to do all of my classwork online gives me the opportunity to balance both my schoolwork and football at the same time.
Even though I'm online, I have been able to build community with my professors and classmates through forums where we get to connect and talk about the work that we're doing.
So it really gives you a lot of flexibility to make sure you're doing your work and, you know, having that time to engage online and learn as much as you can.
I am a grad student at Calvin University.
Today's second half is brought to you by Skipper and Ostrink Wealth Management, providing personal financial strategies tailored to your goals and lifestyles. Hey, if you're on the quest to find the best breakfast place near you, your search ends at Anna's House. Discover how Anna's House is saving the world from an ordinary breakfast by visiting any of their 12 restaurants across Michigan. Food, friends, and life. That's Anna's House. 42-35, and 11 and a half to go. Calvin has led all the way here in this one, after winning the first game 10 days ago, 65-60. Marcus Werman isoing on Parker Swartz, gets to the rack. Swartz recovers well. Battle for the rebound. Comes into the hands of Swartz. Good defense by the 6'7" sophomore transfer from Ohio Dominican. Right corner three on the way by Dane Harvey. And he buries it. Good transition offense on that fast break.
Great pass by Uchenna, and Dane had just perfect arc on that shot. You could see as soon as he let it go, that was splashing in.
Like just
big
a
shot for the senior.
Well-executed fast break. Harvey ran right to that corner pocket, and they knew where he was going to be and found him for the triple. Foul on the other end on Harvey. Battling with Newhouse. So inside of 11, down by 10. Hope goes back to work. Quillen out high, gives it to a cutting Merman, cut off by Bernardo. Now Zach Hawes down low, tried to bounce it into Howell, and it went off his foot out of bounds. Good defense. Boy, Calvin's defense here in the second half has just been sparkling.
Yeah, we're almost at 10 minutes into the half, and Hope has only scored 7 points in this half. So great defensive effort by Calvin.
Egekeza motors into the front court. Defended by Mims all the way to the right block. He weaves his way through that lane, and the foul is on Mims. Out of bounds. Well, Justice Mims has been curtailed today, hasn't he? He averages 10 points a game. He was just 5 for 16 in the first game, and here in this second matchup with Calvin, he has only attempted 3 shots. Mike hit one of them. Calvin's done a great job in the backcourt of Hope.
They are. He has not really even had good looks.
Wrestler guns it down low to Bernardo on the right block. Spins up and over. Simon Newhouse. Been waiting for that one all day.
Big. And if Owen could get hot here in the second half, Calvin could run away with it.
Bernardo's only his 4th point of the game. 2 field goals in each half. 12-point margin as we approach the halfway point here, the second half. Howell banging down on Trevin Winkle. Good to see him back in the lineup after tweaking that ankle. He gets called. Actually, the foul goes on Harvey. Quick 2 on Dane Harvey. That's his 3rd. Team's 6th. So Hope now in the bonus on the next foul.
Trevin Winkle and Gabe Quillen have the same gait right now. They're both walking with a limp, so we'll see how it affects Trevin here as he continues on. It's usually better to keep it loose, but it just depends on how severe the sprain was.
This is the rivalry. You play through it, don't you?
That's right.
That's what those two battlers are doing. Hovey with a step back 3 from the top side. Too strong. Rebound tipped by Mims into the hands of Decker. Nice play by Justice Mims to keep that alive. The foul goes on Bernardo. That is just his 2nd, and that'll send Josh Decker to the stripe for a 1-on-1.
Yeah, Hope now in the bonus the rest of the game.
Decker, a 92% shooter from the free throw line. Again, did not play 10 days ago. Hands the first.
He's got a nice stroke from the line. He had nice rotation, nice release. You can see why he's shooting a high percentage.
92% shooter hits that, but they're going to wave it off. Lane violation on Hope. That's a mistake they can ill afford.
And a call you don't see very often. The ref must have spotted it. Mistakes you don't want to make if you're Hope.
Decker out of the game. He's actually Hope's leading 3-point shooter, 21 on the season, despite only playing 17 minutes a game. Biggest lead of the game has been 12, 30-18 for Calvin. They just had it at 47-35. Now they go back to work offensively. Knights with a big edge shooting here in this one. Shooting at 47% compared to Hope's 35. Left wing wrestler uses the Bernardo screen. Owen rolls, but covered well by Howell. So isolating down low is wrestler fall away jumper, nails it. Mike, that reminds me of the fall away Wednesday night at Trine when he hit the big shot.
Yeah, that one he shot over Manny, the leading shot blocker in the league. This one was over Worman, so not quite the same, but the same turnaround.
13-point margin. Worman checked by Egekeza, top side, gets a step down the left side of the lane, can't hit the roll on the shot. Rebound battle for again, and wrestler will get called for the rebound foul. This is where Hope's just really doing what they do best, and that's crash the glass.
Yeah, Coach Saul is just extolling his teams to rebound. Just can't give up those second shots. It's going to keep Hope in the game if anything is.
Really is. I mean, at this point, the way this game has ebbed and flowed, unless Marcus Worman takes over, which is not impossible, simply if Calvin can keep the Dutch off the glass, they're in pretty good shape. Parker Hovey with a 1-and-1, hits the first.
But that's easier said than done. They crash the glass hard, so it's all 5 guys got to be boxing their man out and then pursue the ball aggressively.
Hovey got them both, so Hope puts a little full court token pressure here.
Yep, they pretty much just back off, but they're just making it a little harder to bring the ball up the court.
Horky crosses the timeline and set it up between the circles. Bernardo at the right point. Fakes the handoff to Horky, finds daylight around the right baseline, couldn't hit it. Egakeza there for the rebound, and Sam Carlson hammered him on the way up. Calvin, that's only their second offensive rebound today. And Jenna Egakeza makes the Dutch pay on that one.
And that one maybe was because the original shot was missed so badly that it's, it's hard for the defense to react to that. So nice job by Uchenna coming in and getting it.
Hope out rebounding Calvin, 28-22 thus far. They've had 35 more shots, 5 more field goal attempts. But Calvin's defense is contesting everything and making it very difficult for the Dutch to score. Egakeza hits the first. He's 4 out of 5 from the free throw line today. Quillen back in, replacing Charles Howell. Uchenna, 11th place in the all-time Calvin scoring leader list. Long rebound, grabbed by Bernardo on the missed shot. He'll fire from the right corner and knock it down. Owen Bernardo with his 32nd triple of the year, and it's a 15-point margin for Calvin University. Right corner, Decker eyed the three, drives on Winkle, powers up the layup. Good work by Josh Decker, showed the three. And Calvin knows they've got to get out on him, and he took advantage of the aggressive defense to find an alleyway along the baseline.
That was a nice drive by him, and also nice patience to let the opening.
Horky gets loose for a triple from the top side. No, Quillen there for the rebound. His 8th of the game. The Dutch trying to put together 2 consecutive scores here, down by 13. Werman working on Dane Harvey. He comes up with a busted wheel, and he'll lip off the court, turned his ankle as well. Parker Schwartz, as the shot was blocked, and we'll sort that all out when we return. 7:47 to go. Calvin led by 15. They now lead by 13, 53-40 on the Calvin Sports Network.
Are you eager to ask God bold questions? At Calvin University, faith in Jesus Christ is part of our everyday lives. Dive deep into the Word through campus-wide Bible studies where leaders mentor you. Worship daily with friends in chapel, each day with a unique theme. Explore worshiping in other languages and cultures. Own and grow your faith as you learn about God's creation and your purpose in it. This is your invitation to engage, to belong, to grow.
Fans, today's Calvin Women's Sports Report is presented by Lake Michigan Credit Union. Last week at the Aurora Grand Prix in Chicagoland, grad student Sydney Radigan from Portland, Oregon, set a school record in the 200 meters and nearly broke Calvin's 60-meter dash record with a time just 3/100ths off the school record. Big weekend for Calvin grad student Sydney Radigan and our Calvin Women's Sports Report presented by Lake Michigan Credit Union, where our members really like earning more when they save and paying less when they borrow. Well, Mike, we talked about when is Owen Varnado going to go to work on the offensive end. He's come to life here a little bit in the second half, and that's helped propel this night lead up to as many as 15.
Yeah, really nice post play, and then ran down an offensive rebound and knocked down a three. And those momentum threes are the type of shot that Owen is known for. He's going to knock those down in big games.
Werman working on Egakeza. Leaves it for Quillen with a deep three ball from the left point. I think Calvin will take that effort from Gabe Quillen.
Yeah.
Long rebound, and a wrestler motors into the front court. Bernardo, space on the blocks, drives to the paint, turns around with a baby hook right in front of the basket, left it just short. Decker clears for Hope. Ed DeHovey, who drops for Mims. Backs down on the right block against Schwartz. Good defense by Parker, but Mims is able to wheel and deal and nail a bit of a prayer off the glass.
That was
It's the
quite an
second
angle
time
on that
tonight
shot.
he's done that.
Yeah.
Drops it home. Good work by Justice Mims. Lead back to 11. Schwartz in the left corner to Bernardo. Top side. Looks at the three now. Drives towards the hole, the right elbow, and they'll call a block on Parker Hovey. Good call. I think his feet were moving. Just the 16th foul, so Calvin will have it out of bounds.
Hope still hanging around. Not letting Calvin run too far away. So.
Different kind of game than 10 days ago, where the lead changed 16 times and we had 9 ties. This has been Calvin so far, wire to wire. Got his closest 3. That was the halftime score, 31-28. Calvin with some great defense to start the second half. Here's Egekeza, blows right by Hovey and lays it in. Uchenna Egekeza with his 12th point to lead the Knights, and it's 55-42. Tell you, we've seen some dirty crossover moves today, haven't we? There's Josh Decker with an open 3 from the left wing, and he spills it through. Lead back to 10. Parker Schwartz open from the right wing on a downtown try. No, Egekeza skying for the rebound. And I think he shuffled he fell to the ground. They'll call traveling. Eric DeVries and Bill Solik exhorting their Calvin Knights to watch out for Josh Decker.
Yeah, he was really frustrated that Decker got free on that last time down the court.
Decker sets up the offense out of Mims. Bounces it left side to Quillen, who still has just 3 points. Gorman to Hovey. Works down the right side on Schwartz, then drops it into the lane for Mims, who couldn't hit the floater. Back the other way, Egekeza on the fly. Glides his way toward the basket, has his shot blocked, but battles for the loose ball. Grabs the rebound and lays it in. Oh, he just scores in so many ways, Mike.
Chenna just won't be denied. He just keeps going after it.
Mims spinning and turning down the lane, finds Quillen, who stuck behind the defense. Lays it in on a good look from Marcus Orman, and with 5:24 to go, Greg Mitchell is going to spend a timeout. Hope with just 2 left, down 10, 57-47.
Up to Calvin football players leading the cheers in the front row.
Yeah, you've seen this rivalry a lot, Mike, over the years, and to have a bunch of 6'2", 290-pounders in the front row hasn't been the norm over the years, has it?
No, a little hard on the bleacher system over there, I think, but a little more weight in those bleachers than there used to be. But they're having a good time today.
They sure are, and they're not spending a lot of time sitting either. That Calvin football team, you heard Jim Timmer talk about at halftime. Just the excitement on the part of Trent Figg. He's got 10 recruits on campus today, and hearing such great stories about the battles off the field between Hope and Calvin already on the recruiting trail. Just great stuff as Pete Sturzma and Trent Figg go after some of Michigan's finest high school players to play for 2 great programs. 10-point gap. Calvin with 3 timeouts left. Hope with just 1 now. So Greg Mitchell spending the TOs here in the second half. Down by 10. Dutch need a stop. Wrestler cycles, weaves his way down the lane. Looked for that fall away, couldn't get it. Now gives it to Harvey, who moves to Bernardo, right wing. Desperation 3, no, but Dane Harvey's there for the offensive board. Bounces to Egekeza, whose shot is rejected nicely by Quillen. On the run out, Parker Hovey can't finish, but Gabe Quillen right there for the flush on the rebound, and the lead is down to 8. 4:30 to go. Egekeza working on Carlson, and they'll get Uchenna for an offensive foul. He got the chicken wing out there a little bit pushed off, and good call by the official.
Some big possessions now for Calvin. Hope is, like I said earlier, just hung around enough to keep it interesting, and now they got it down to 8 with a chance to cut it lower than that. So Big defensive possession here for Calvin.
It was 55-40 with about 7 minutes to go in the second half. So Hope has outscored Calvin 9-2 here in the last 3 minutes. And the Dutch can cut it down to 6 or 5. This crowd comes to life. As though they've been there all day, really. Great crowd on hand. Hobie has it stripped away, topside by Swartz. Quillen recovered it though for Hope. 10 on the shot clock. Hobie works the right baseline against Swartz, and Swartz will be whistled for the foul on the push. 2 shots coming up from Parker Hobie. That's the 10th team foul, so double bonus the rest of the way. Now for Hope at the free throw line. I would say this is about the time where Hope is going to look to Marcus Werman to go to work. And Bill Salt knows that.
Yep.
And you can see Calvin's defense really keenly aware of Marcus Werman and how to stop him.
Yeah, for both teams, you want to make sure that you're forcing people who aren't the main options or haven't played the main minutes to take the shots. You try to keep Marcus Werman's and Gabe Quillen's, in the case of Calvin against Hope, to keep them from scoring. And Calvin did a nice job against that 10 days ago when it was coming down the stretch.
Hobie got the first, hits the second as well. It's a 6-point game. Good to see Trevin Winkle back in there. Both he and Harvey left the game briefly with those tweaked ankles, and both of them have returned to the lineup. Calvin with Varnado, Swartz, Winkle, Wrestler, and Egakeza. 5 the start of the game except for Swartz. Now Varnado eyes the 3 at the left point. Kick it over to Swartz. Inside of 4 minutes. Egakeza, top side with 6 on the shot clock. Probes the right side. Swartz will gun top side from 30 feet out, and he drilled it. Parker Swartz with a big triple, and the Knights are back on top by 9. Werman quickly to the hole. Kicks it right corner to Carlson, back to Werman, right baseline. Eyed the step back now all the way to the bucket. He drives, reverse layup, no, but drew the foul. And that'll take us to the under 4 timeout. Marcus Werman shooting a couple of free throws when we return. Big 3 by Parker Swartz has Calvin up 60-51. 3:24 to go on the Calvin Sports Network here on Michigan Sports Radio. AM Talk 1230 WTKG and CalvinKnights.com. This big crowd loving it here. Calvin and Hope tangled up in a good one. A reminder that this Monday, February 3rd at Big E's Restaurant on East Beltline is the debut of Inside Calvin Basketball, a 30-minute program featuring men's coach Bill Saul. Monday, Chenna Egakeza and Owen Varnado join coach Bill Saul. Also later in the month, players and coaches from the women's team. Show airs live on 96.1 The Game FM and Michigan Sports Radio. You are welcome this Monday night to join us. Be the live audience at Big E's. Meet Coach Saul, Owen, and Uchenna, and enjoy the delicious menu items from Big E's. That's Inside Calvin Basketball starting Monday, February 9th at Big E's on East Beltline. Brought to you in part by Garrett's Appliance. Retail locations in Wyoming and Kentwood. Down by 9. Missing the first free throw is Marcus Werman. It's his first trip to the stripe today. He has 11 points, Mike Lefebvre, but it's taken him 12 shots to do it. That's very reminiscent of a week and a half ago in Holland as he hit the second one. And those were the numbers he had at Trine and Albion, too. A lot of shots to get his points.
Yeah, opposing coaches, I think they know he's going to get his points. He's going to shoot a lot.
Hope with some full court pressure. They get a steal off the inbounds. Werman bounces it to Hobie. And Hobie went up for the layup and was fouled, so he'll go back to the line. So the full court press, how do you handle that if you're the Knights in this situation?
Yeah, they got to spread it out more, and ideally you want somebody flashing to the middle, more in the half court area, to try to get it beyond the first row of that defense. And then they can turn and bring it in, bring it down court.
Hobie sinks the first. Trevin Winkle coming out of the lineup. He's still favoring that right ankle.
He definitely is. It's definitely affecting him.
Ty Horky replaces him. Horky's chipped in 4 tonight. Second free throw is no good. Ball's tipped out on the rebound, and it goes to Hope College. The 13th offensive rebound today for Hope. Gives them another possession, down by 7 with 3:13 to play. Werman sets up shot, guns it to Decker, who's seen a lot of minutes here in the second half. He works the left baseline on Horky, zips it underneath, intended for Hobie, knocked away by Luca Ressler. Jets into the front court. Now backs it out, and he'll chew some clock here, up by 7 with 2:53 to go. Great interior defense by Calvin to knock away that entry pass.
Great job. He beat him to the spot as the Hope player was trying to cut to the basket.
Bernardo works the left block on Howell. Double pump, but the shot hit the bottom of the rim. Rebound caromed off to Werman, who'll step back from the right wing for a 3. That is a rounded out into the hands of Keza. He's pushed by Werman on the run out. No call, ahead to Horky with 2:24 to go. Calvin back in possession. Bernardo right side, and Bill Saul wants a timeout with 2:16 to go. That's Calvin's second timeout. They have 2 remaining. .216 to go. Calvin on top 60-53. If you're just joining us, and I hope that's not the case, because it has been another wonderful battle between these two old rivals of 105 years of basketball action. Calvin jumped out to a 7-1 lead, and really thus far has never looked back. Mike, they have led the entire way. The lead was as small as 3 and as high as 15. It's a game they've been in control, but Hope's just kind of hanging around trying to get that door open, aren't they?
Yeah, Calvin's really controlling the game with their defense, but not quite scoring enough to take the game over. And Hope, doing, to their credit, is doing enough to stay in. And as typical Calvin Hope game, it's just a really competitive game. The guys are getting after it, so you're not gonna run away with them from them without really making some shots.
Hope still shooting 35%. They've been at the 35-36 all game. Calvin shooting 47%. That's about where they've been. So the shooting edge has really gone to the Knights. Back the other way. Agakeza glides down the right side of that lane, and then as he approached the basket was pushed by Gabe Quillen. That is the second on Quillen, and send Uchenna to the free throw stripe where he's 4 out of 6 today. 66% free throw shooter, and down the stretch it's going to be free throws.
That's right. That's right. Going to have to make some yet to put this away.
Calvin with Horky and Ressler in the backcourt. Agakeza, Bernardo, and Parker Schwartz up front. Boy, a lot of minutes for Parker Schwartz again. Played over 20 minutes today, and his role seems to be just increasing each game, doesn't it? As he's developed and integrated into this system.
That's right. You can see Coach Saul getting more and more confidence in him. And I think he's really, we talked about Trevin Winkle with his defense getting better. I think the same can be said with Parker. His defense is getting better and better. And when you play for Coach Saul, that's how you're going to get on the floor.
Schwartz from Northfield High School by way of Ohio Dominican, a D2 school where he played 1 year. Both free throws good, 62-53 inside of 2 minutes. Hobie backs down Horky, now kicks it out to Decker for a 3. Everything but down as it rimmed out, and Bernardo climbed the ladder for the rebound. Minute 40 to go, Calvin by 9. They will earn some clock here. Schwartz has the top side, eyed the 3, leaves for Ressler with 17 on the clock. He'll fall away from the left baseline. 8-footer, Luca Ressler. That is his shot as he dumps it through.
He likes that. It turns over his right shoulder, fading a little bit, and he'll knock those down all day.
Luca now with 9 points. And on the other end, Agakeza picks up his third foul. Check that fourth. And Werman to the free throw line.
When you're up 11 with 1:21 to go, you hate to give him a chance to score with no time coming off the clock, but Marcus had a step on him there, and he probably had a layup otherwise, so not a bad foul by Uchenna.
Werman's first free throw is good. Calvin looking for the regular season sweep. Last year, the Knights won the first game as well here, and then lost the second one. In a few years.
I think it's been since the 1920 school year that Calvin swept both the regular season games.
So 2020, not 1920. I think you said 1920, or did you say 2020?
The 2019-2020 school year.
Okay.
Clarify.
I heard that 1920, and I'm thinking, no, it has not been 105 years.
That was the first game.
That's right. That's right. Both free throws good by Werman. 64-55 with 79 seconds to go, and a quick 30-second timeout leaves both teams with one timeout. Amazing series, though, that we've talked about. But the other thing, you and I talked about at the outset, what I think, Mike, makes this series so special is not just the proximity and the history of the two schools and the theological nuances and all those great things. The other thing that makes it so great is since Calvin joined this league in 1953, out of the 71 league standings since 53, these two teams have won or shared 64 of them.
Yeah, that's amazing. Amazing dominance of the conference by the two, and it's only recently that really Trine has joined that party and made it interesting with a third team. But it's been Calvin and Hope since the early 1950s. The other thing, as I look around here, Bob, there are not many experiences in Division III athletics where you're going to play in front of this kind of a crowd, and it's pretty special.
Owen Bernardo takes that inbounds pass from Wrestler. Hope wanted a travel call. Knights deal with the full court press. Horky trapped, but does find Bernardo in the front court. Now the ball's deflected away nicely by Mims, controlled by Howell. 63 seconds to go, down by 9. Hope quickly to the front court. Werman will drive to the hole along the left baseline. He was grabbed by Bernardo as he did. That is number 3 on the junior from Muskegon. Don't forget, Owen and Chedai Kezel join us Monday night from Big E's on East Beltline for the first edition of Inside Calvin Basketball. Should be a lot of fun.
Really looking forward to it. Hoping a lot of people will come down to join us that night. It should be a fun night, not only supporting Calvin basketball, but Coach Saul and those two players. And we're heading into a fun month of February, I think, with Calvin in first place in the league.
We are, and I tell you don't get to have too many of those types of shows when you're riding a 12-game winning streak.
That's right. Coach Saul should be in a good mood if we can finish this off today.
That's for sure. Werman got one of the two. It's an 8-point game, 50 seconds to go. Wrestler lost his footing along the left sideline. Hovey came up with a loose ball and drives to the bucket and is just hammered as he goes up for the layup.
Stunning missed call there. They obviously tripped and no call, and Hope was able to just pick up the ball and head the other way.
Hovey back to the stripe, where he is a 70% free throw shooter. Today he has hit on 7 of 8 from the line. See the replay there. Pretty good looking block by Ekekeza coming over.
It was after he'd gotten hit down low, I think.
Hovey drains them both. 6-point game, 52 seconds to go. That full court press has bothered Calvin here in the last couple of minutes. Luka Wrestler takes Calvin's final timeout. So with 52 seconds to go, it's a 2-possession game right now. And how does Calvin solve this full court pressure by Hope?
Well, that's what Coach Saul's going to draw something up here, but you got to get a way to got to set some screens. Can't just have guys trying to get open on their own. Got to help them a little bit, and then really take care of the ball, make good decisions. They panicked a little bit the last couple times, and if you can run some clock, Hope can't afford to have us run too much clock here for 30 seconds of a shot clock. So they're likely going to put Calvin on the line if you can get the ball over half court.
Here's the standings from around the MIAA, presented by NAI Wasinski of West Michigan, providing all facets of commercial real estate. Calvin, of course, on top at 7-0. Trine right behind at 6-1, and then Hope and Adrian at 4-3, tied for third place. Trine 14-2, or rather 16-2. That second loss, of course, coming at the hands of Calvin. And Mike, Trine's a great story. Hope will host them on Wednesday. That becomes a critical game for them as they try to keep pace with Calvin in what will be a very exciting month of February in this MIAA race.
Absolutely, and regardless what happens here, Hope it's probably the last really big game on the schedule for Hope for the regular season and their chance to make a bit of an impact in this conference race.
Indeed, this is desperation final minute here for Hope College. If they have any ability to ascertain a MIAA title. Quick inbounds pass this time. The Knights get it into Varnado, and he goes to the line where he will shoot 1-1, critical 1-1. Calvin not quite in the double bonus as of yet. Varnado with 77% clip at the line. Parker Hovey.
I think that's number 5 on him.
Number 5. It's a big loss for the Dutch. Another strong outing from the sophomore out of Shelby. 6'5", 215-pounder. Varnado hits the first. Hovey today in 25 minutes with 14 points on 4 of 7 shooting, 8 rebounds. So a terrific outing by Parker Hovey pretty much has been the norm.
Yeah, he's done a nice job of picking up some of the scoring slack from Quillen and Werman.
How about this stat, Mike? Gabe Quillen just 2 for 10 in the field today.
Calvin's done an excellent job on him in the post.
4 for 11 in the first game, 2 for 10 today.
And in fact, he's not even in the lineup right now.
Down by 8, Werman goes to work, leaves for Mims, topside 3, in and out, rebound nicely by Howell and tipped in with 39 seconds to go. This keeps it a 6-point game. Hope relies on that offensive glass as Charles Howell with a good tip in cut the gap. No timeouts left for either team now, so we play on to the end of this one. Some of the other stats here: rebounds 30 for Calvin, 33 for Hope. That was the 13th offensive rebound for Hope today on 32 missed shots. So again, they are really showing their offensive rebound ability, but yet compared to their recent games, Calvin doing a decent job on the defensive glass.
Yeah. And as we've said, it's really what's keeping Hope in the game. They've had some turnovers, their shooting percentages, and what they really need it to be for a game like this, but the second chance opportunities are what's keeping them in it. Case in point, the last possession where they had a nice putback.
Turnovers fairly even, 12 for Calvin, 14 for Hope. Well, Greg Mitchell and Bill Saul know each other well, played against each other for their respective alma maters, and how much do they just sort of try to get inside each other's head at this juncture?
I think they're mostly just focused on what does our team need to do in the particular situation we're in. They probably think about each other more before and after the game than they are during.
And I trust it's fondly.
Absolutely. Right?
Luca Ressler will inbound it here with 39 seconds to go. He got it into Varnado. Back to Ressler. 5 seconds on the timeline clock. Kez has got to hurry and just gets it across and then threw it away. Really good pressure by Hope. They just did not relent after that inbounds pass. Uchenna knew what the clock was in his mind, but coughed it up at the very end with 27 seconds to go. It's 66-60. 2-possession game. Now, if you're Calvin here, you got to stop the 3. Or if you're Hope, do you need a 3?
You maybe don't need one yet, but I think what Calvin optimally would like to do is make them run a little bit of time.
Werman gets the screen from Howell. Decker step back 3 from the right point. It left it short. Scramble for the rebound, out of bounds, off Hope. 17 seconds to go. This big crowd clad in maroon can start to smell it. Perhaps a regular season sweep over the Dutch. But
Great
first,
defense there by Horky.
Wrestler's got to get it inbounds. He does. Dekakeza right back to Luka. Motors into the front court, finds Horky with 12 seconds to go, and he'll get fouled with a chance to put the nail in the coffin with 11 seconds to go, 66-60. Ty Horky, the line, a pretty good free throw shooter. Let's assume that he hits these. He's a 81% shooter. This will leave him just 2 points away from the 1,000 career points between Hope and Calvin and Kalamazoo.
That's right. Been a nice 5-year run for Ty.
He's got a 1-and-1. He hits the first. It's now a 3-possession game.
And he's not surprising Coach Saul would have him in the game. His maturity, his ball handling, and his ability to hit free throws. He's an asset down the stretch.
Got them both. Stay tuned after the game for the post-game show. We expect to be joined by Bill Saul and Chenega Keza. Back the other way, driving to the hole is Miller. No, wrestlers get the rebound. Decker took it away, stepped on the line. It's going to be Calvin's ball. 2 seconds to go, and the Knights are going to win the regular season series here with another victory over Hope. They do it 68-60. The final in this Van Noord Arena erupts. We'll step aside. When we come back, it's the Big East post-game show. We'll be joined by Bill Saul and Uchenna Ekakeza. It's coming up on the Calvin Sports Network. Stay with us for the Big East post-game show.
I was really interested in weaving together those three ideas of medicine and business and engineering into one kind of cohesive thing, because I've started a company to help make low-cost devices for low-resource settings. And so I've developed the Biliroo. The Biliroo helps treat neonatal jaundice for infants in low-resource settings, and it stemmed out of my experiences in Nepal of there being limited phototherapy access there. And so I've developed this device to help treat babies in the way that the parents can be the most involved while harnessing the use of the sun to help treat their jaundice. So the heart of why we created the device is because 1 in every 10 neonates worldwide suffers from moderate to severe jaundice. 6 million infants every year don't have access to the necessary phototherapy treatment to treat their jaundice. I think the mission of Calvin relates really well to my life purpose. I'm so grateful that I chose Calvin because of its integration of faith and academics together, something that the other schools I was looking at didn't have.
Welcome back to Van Noord Arena. Bob Sack with you here alongside victorious Bill Saul after Calvin sweeps the regular season series with Hope. A 68-60 victory for the Knights today over the Dutch in a typical hard-fought rivalry battle. Bill Saul, first of all, congratulations. Got to feel good. A wire-to-wire win today. Never trailed. What was the key to just keeping them at bay here all afternoon?
I thought they played incredibly hard. I thought we did too. You know, some carelessness on our part. A couple of times that really was a challenge. But again, we persevered. I thought it was a really physical game, and I thought we matched that physicality that they brought. You know, and overall, hey, a couple of big performances. You know, Chenna again was outstanding today. You know, had a couple of guys dinged up. You know, Trev and Dane both had ankle injuries, so we had other guys that had to step up to the plate, and I really thought they did a great job.
Story of the game, though, I think, just like it was 10 days ago, Bill, the defensive effort. You look at the shooting percentages for Gabe Quillen and Marcus Worman. You made those guys work for their shots. What did you do to stop that inside-outside game of Quillen and Worman?
Just a lot of effort, right? I mean, those are the two focal points, and, you know, we talked the last 2 days about that. You know, down there, Worman really took it to us. You know, he hit 2 big threes in that end of that first half, but I thought we did a pretty good job on him in the second, made him, you know, not get that 3 and really make him go downhill and find him, and I thought that was outstanding.
You talked to me yesterday about the rebounding factor and how critical it was to keep them off the boards. They had their second chances, they had some more rebounds, but how'd you characterize your defensive glass effort today? I
mean, decent, right? I mean, we let them loose a few times. They just go so hard, right? I mean, you're talking about a team that had 23 and 24 the last 2 games. So, you know, you hold a team to 14, it doesn't exactly feel that good, but overall still a really good performance.
What a stretch for you. These last 4 games, a pair of wins over Hope, a great ball game Wednesday night, beating Trine, the number 2 team in the country. How do you take a deep breath at this point after these last 10 days?
Yeah, you know, that's the thing is at this time of the season, you're only giving any breaths, right? I mean, now we got a huge road stretch. We're going into a bunch of games, so that's going to be a challenge. So we just got to keep on trucking as much as we can.
All right, Bill Saul, congratulations. Great job, and good luck this week against Alma.
Thank you.
Bill Saul, and let's bring in the man of the hour tonight, Uchenna Egekeza. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Uchenna, on just a terrific performance. The first question is, you just swept Hope in the regular season. How does that feel?
It's a great feeling. That's always kind of the goal coming into the season, beat Hope as many times as we can, and yeah, this is a great feeling. I'm glad we got it done.
I think if there's an aspect to the game that was so pivotal, it's the defensive effort by Calvin. You look at the points that Marcus Worman, who's a great player, Gabe Quillen, a lot of shots to get their points. What did you guys do defensively that just kept them shut down or in check all afternoon?
Just make it as tough as possible on them. We know they're going to hit shots at the end of the day and be aggressive, but kind of just build a wall, kind of be there on doubles for Gabe, and just trying to make it tough on Worman, as tough as possible. That's kind of the goal.
This team is so locked in and bought in on the defensive end. Where does that start? I'll tell you where it starts. It starts with you, because that's what I ask that question to people, and that's what they tell me. It starts with Uchenna defensively. But how have you gotten your teammates and the coaching staff gotten their teammates to just buy into this tough defensive effort?
Yeah, it's just pretty much just kind of trucking along the whole season. You know, at the beginning of the season, we weren't playing as good defensively as we wanted to, and Coach let us know about it, and that was a key emphasis in practice. And I feel like the fact that we've been continuing to buy into that has results have shown because of that. So I think it's just continuing to build on that and continue to play defense best we can.
You get a 2-game stretch over Trine and Hope and win them both. That's an outstanding 4 days of basketball.
Yeah.
Take a big deep breath now, huh?
Yeah, deep breath. That's not. We did that last year, I believe, and that wasn't easy. So we don't take this for granted. Just got to keep building on the wins and just continuing.
All right, congratulations. We'll see you Monday night at Big East for the game. Great to have you here today, and congrats on a super win tonight. Uchenna Egekeza, the grad transfer from Chicagoland. Don't go away. Stick around. The Big East post-game show marches on. When we return, Mike Lefebvre and I will break down the numbers on this one and sign off and tell you about an exciting victory here in episode number 215 of the Rivalry. It's the Calvin Sports Network on AM Talk 1230, WTKG, and Michigan Sports Radio.
Where will the next revolutionary idea come from? That next breakthrough in scientific research? Or that next literary masterpiece? At Calvin University, you can dream bigger, think deeper, aim higher. Our world-class faculty push students to keep asking hard questions and never settle for the status quo. Become part of the solution to the world's big problems. Become part of a university that challenges students to go beyond themselves as Christ's agents of renewal in the world. Calvin University. Go beyond.
Welcome back to Van Noord Arena on the campus of Calvin University. Bob Sack along with former Calvin national champ Mike Lefebvre as we wrap up a 68-60 win for the Calvin Knights over the Hope Flying Dutchman today, and a terrific basketball game as this rivalry game usually is. Time now for the final stats presented by Detroit Wing Company at Knapp's Corner in Grand Rapids. Final shooting percentages, Calvin ends up at 47%, Hope at 33%. We'll talk more about that. Great defense with Mike Lefebvre in just a moment. A 3-point field goal, 37% for Calvin. They hit 7 of 19. Hope was 6 of 20 for 30%. Total rebounds today, 34 for Calvin, 36 for Hope. So the Knights did a really good job on the offensive and defensive glass, or particularly the defensive glass in that ball game. Turnovers, 16 for Calvin, 15 for Hope. Typical hard-fought defensive effort produced those kinds of numbers. Individually, the scoring today for Hope, they were led by Parker Hovey, 17. Marcus Werman chipped in with 15, although it took him 13 shots to do so. Gabe Quillen was held to just 7 points today, 6 for Charles Howell, and 4 for Justice Bibbs and 2 for Brady Miller. Josh Decker also had 6 in the second half, and Zach Hawes added a 3-pointer as well. Calvin today led by the guy who usually does it. You just heard him on our Big E's post-game show interview. Uchenna Egekeza, 16 points, 5 of 9 from the field on 6 of 8 from the free throw line. 10 for Trevin Winkle, had a really good first half before being hobbled by that ankle injury. 9 for Owen Varnado, 9 for Luca Ressler, 8 for Parker Swartz, 6 for Ty Horkey, 7 for Brady Ewing, 3 for Dane Harvey. It all adds up to a 68-60 win. Mike Lefebvre, what jumps off you as you look at the stat page?
Well, Bob, I think a lot of it is what we were expecting. Hope's offensive rebounding, I think, is what kept him in the game, and Calvin's defense is what won them the game. And there's just a lot of Uchenna Egekeza. He impacts the flow of the game in even more ways than the stats can bear out. He's 16 points to go along with 5 assists and 6 rebounds, but even more so the defense he played on Marcus Werman, forcing him into what was not a very efficient game for Marcus, or at least what he's capable of doing. So huge impact by Uchenna, but the whole team, as he was saying, the whole team has bought into the defense they're playing, and they're making it really hard on opposing offenses to score the basketball.
Time now for our player of the game, brought to you by Straight Line Fence, chosen by Mike Lefebvre. The pressure is on for you to choose who's Calvin's player of the game, because I really do. I look at the stat sheet, and there is a lot of guys that just found ways to contribute both offensively and defensively. So, with that lead in and that ample amount of time to make your selection, who's your player of the game tonight?
Yeah,
brought to you by Straight Line Fence.
Nice balanced effort by Calvin today. A lot of guys impacted the game, but Uchenna Egekeza is certainly our player of the game today. As we just discussed, not only the stats, but all the little things he does in the game. He's just a really difficult player for opposing teams to play against, and he showed it again today.
That's our Straight Line Fence player of the game. Straight Line Fence, with over 30 years of building sanctuary and security. They provide property owners with the privacy, comfort, and confidence of the perfect fence. All right, I want to thank a terrific number of sponsors for bringing this rivalry game to us today. Skipper and O-String, Straight Line Fence, Applied Innovation, and Wasinski of West Michigan, Mercantile Bank, Big E's, Detroit Wing Company, LMCU, Anna's House, PageWorks, Northwestern Mutual, Denoyer Automotive Family, Garrett's Appliance, Dorner Works, the Architectural Group, and Riverbend Body Shop, all helping to bring you this episode number 215 of the rivalry. Calvin cuts the gap to just 7 wins. It's now 111 to 104, and they've cut the gap, Mike Lefebvre, to 2 points. Is that incredible or what? 215 basketball games between these two schools in 105 years, and if you add up all the total points, the difference is 2.
2 points.
Just amazing.
You can't make this stuff up.
No, and you see the highlights there, the student section and their jubilant post-game reaction after this victory over the arch rival, Hope College. Terrific number of people putting this broadcast on today. I want to thank our executive producer, Adam Tozer, our producer, Nate Porter, Justin Kendall, our field producer, tech director Daniel Bass, B-roll content coordinator Joe Belil. Our camera operators today were Ethan Kaiser, Lily Vrew, Langston Holquist, Mel Cook, and Ian Gilbert. Carl Hordike was our engineer. Joe Hayduk was our replay official today. Alan Warner handled the graphics, and our broadcast audio was done by Trevor Eplett. Just all a terrific effort by this great crew that brought you this game this afternoon. I want to thank Brett Bakita and Shelby at iHeart Media for their work in the board back with WTKG AM 1230. Brock Conkle with Michigan Sports Radio. Thank the SIDs, Jeff Phoebus and Mike Gibbons from Calvin, Alan Babbitt from Hope. And Mike, I want to thank you for a great job today. A lot of fun to do this. Absolute delight to bring you, a privilege to help be part of bringing this game, the 214th edition of the Rivalry, to those of you watching at home. Most of all, thank you, the fans, for hanging out with us on this fantastic Saturday afternoon. The Rivalry Women's Edition comes up tonight at Hope when the Calvin women meet Hope. Calvin's men's team's on the road this Wednesday at Alma before next week on the road at Adrian, I believe, is next Saturday. So that's what's ahead next week. But before that, make sure to join us Monday night. Come on out and see us at Big E's, 6:30 for Inside Calvin Basketball. So for Mike Lefebvre, this is Bob Sachs saying so long, everybody. Have a great weekend. Once again, the final from Van Noord Arena on the campus of Calvin University. It's the Calvin Knights 68. Hope Flying Dutchman 60. Good night, everybody.